Um, Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Mongoli Show. We are going to get started in a second with some R rating, but first, I just need to get some things set up behind the scenes. Let's drag this over here, because why not? There we go. Okay. We gotta see when Brian goes live. Not yet. And we need to actually make the background. So that one can delete. Gone. Okay. And then that looks good. Copy that, and into Canva you go. Somewhere. There. Beautiful. Download. What's up, Omega Man? How you doing, buddy? Omega Man, you might want to check. Well, 1 second. 1 second. Ooh. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got the names right. You might want to check Patreon at some point. You specifically, assuming I remember your name, which I'm pretty sure I do. Oh, wait. Maybe you did already fix it. My bad. Curious now. How do I get there? Come on. Sorry, guys. Give me 10 seconds. Is Run 7 live yet? Refresh. I do not see Mr. 7 yet. Okay. How are you guys doing this week? We are talking about Snowpiercer. This is our Patreon pick. 3, 1, 3. Yeah, no, it's still. Maybe it was not fixed. But it's not showing up anymore. There was a message beside you before that is no longer there, which is weird. Oh, no, there it is. It doesn't say what it says before, though, but that's. Anyways, whatever. Won't dwell on it. Just if you think of it, check it out. All right, we're going to head here. And actually, I don't. Yeah, no, I do. So we're going to delete that. Delete that. Upload this one. All the fun behind the scenes stuff happening now in front of the screen. Pokemon drops sub for a great ball. Anytime you sub to the Mongoli Show, you're going to get a great ball. What is this? Sub drops. Purchase new. Anola, how are you doing? Thank you so much for the subscription. Greatly appreciated. Purchase new recurring or gift subscriptions while they're live in talk shows and podcasts. Sub 1 or gift 1 to get a great ball mystery Pokemon. 2 subs or gift subs to get a great ball. And then it just keeps going. It's just a great ball over and over again. Mystery badge, mystery badge, mystery badge. 1 sub, 2 sub, 3 subs. Okay. I mean, sure, why not? Out of curiosity, Anola, you're a recurring sub. So did that purchase new recurring? Yeah, no, recurring. Okay, or gift subscriptions while they last. So you should have got a Pokeball. What was that like? I'm doing well. Hello, Burnsy. How you doing, buddy? All right, let's get rid of the backgrounds. Go over to chat. Run 7 did just go live. Not that I see him on my list, but at least I can knock on him. Good evening, D. How are you, buddy? Good to see you. There he is. Run 7. Watch show. Watch yeah. I guess you could knock before you go live. Apparently, I'm alone in that, but it'd be so much handier to get rid of this nonsense beforehand. Hey, he clicked it. Good for him. What a trooper. All right. Share chat. All right. Run 7 in my chat. Should be streamed, should be shared, should be good to go. Pokeballs are live? I think so. It looks like that. Anola, did you get a Pokeball for subscribing? Did that do anything? I'm not going to advertise it if it didn't work, but if it worked, cool. How you doing, Bubba? Ready for some backseat cinema in a little bit? Okay, we're going to bring that open. I've got to do this. And it doesn't even look like, for whatever reason, it's not even gift 5 subs. It's like 1, 2, or 3, which is weird, but like, okay, I'll take it. Patreon picks. Oh, Skinny Matthew, don't bring me down. That was such awful news. I mean, 85 is no joke. Like, good on him for making that far, but still very unfortunate. For those who don't know, Peter Cullen passed away today. No, yesterday? Yesterday, I think. It was the 26th, right? Peter Cullen, legendary voice actor who voiced Eeyore and, of course, Optimus Prime from basically everything in my childhood. Like, pretty much anytime there was a Transformers portrayal of Optimus Prime, it was him. Worse than Tim Curry and Dolly? For me, yeah. 100% for me. Like, I'm not saying anything negative about Dolly Parton or Tim Curry, obviously, but like, impact on my life, Optimus Prime was way bigger than those two. Because I was finding out the Butler and the cult classic Clue died yesterday. Yeah. Yesterday, I thought he passed away on the 25th. Maybe my dates are all wrong. I thought he passed away on the 25th and she passed away. I thought they both passed away on the 25th and Cullen on the 26th, but I could be wrong. Snowpiercer. Possible spam. Let's not answer it. All right. I'm assuming for you, Carnage, that means Curry was a harder hit. Brian joins my group and is not joining Restream. He died 25, but wasn't announced till morning 26. Gotcha. That's, yeah. Lots of losses in the last couple of days. It's been a rough week for sure. All right, we need the Snowpiercer logo. It's harder with non-franchises to get the logos because a lot of them are pretty basic. Snowpiercer logo PNG. That's not bad. That's actually got a little bit of something to it. Copy that image. Head over to here. Hey, Brian has joined. Do you want to add them to the stream? Yes. That's good. Never got that message before. Brian, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good.
1 second. That might be on my end.
What's that?
Hey, it is on my end. Sorry, I had you muted. What was that?
Nothing. I'm trying to work out this choppy video that I keep getting when I do Restream, and I'm not really sure why that's happening. I think it's just on my screen though. It doesn't look well. I don't know. It doesn't look great on Twitch.
Like Wave or something. I mean, you look pretty good on my screen. I think I look worse, but like you look fine.
It's okay. It's doable. It's doable.
So going through older episodes, before we started using Restream, because the level of Restream that I pay for caps us at 720p. And so going back and watching like some of the old episodes when we were still using OBS, they look so much better. And I'm just like, oh, do I want to pay more? I don't really want to pay more, but damn, we look good.
Yeah, I'm not super thrilled with Restream. I just don't know. I want a service that'll multi-stream for me, but I don't feel like Restream is the one I want. I don't know what is, though. For right now, I think I'll probably just use Discord for the most part. It's giving me the best clarity. What's up, Will? How you doing?
Good evening, gentlemen. I'm doing well, thank you.
You're on your own train there.
I like Restream. Oh, thank you, Anthony, for coming at us from YouTube. Appreciate you, buddy. I like Restream in a lot of ways. I just feel like the next level, like, because what I pay right now is like $12 a month or something, and it's decent. Yeah. But the next level up goes to 50, and it's just like, that's a pretty effing massive jump.
Yeah.
Just to get, like, all I really want is 1080p, and it would allow me to stream landscape and portrait, which Twitch lets me do for free. So like, why is it costing this much? And it's like, oh, you can stream like 16 channels. I'm like, I don't give a shit about 16 channels. I have like 3.
Yeah.
Like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, I just don't think the software is ready for the multi-streaming. They're trying, but I don't think it's there yet. I'd give it another year, and there'll be something, some feature, some app, something that'll probably do it for near free and do it pretty well.
The one thing I do like about Patreon is every time I've tried to use like OBS and like say Will just disappears all of a sudden, the whole screen messes up. Whereas in Restream, it just kind of like adjusts and you're good and you just keep going.
Yeah.
Or if we decide to have like, you know, Bubba, somebody join us, or somebody join us at the end.
Oh, yeah, the Discord windows. Yeah, you said OBS. The Discord windows screw up. Yeah. I wish they would just let you lock in the position and let there be empty tiles that you can fill in as people move in or out, but just lock in that position.
Yeah.
I mean, they update the damn thing like every week. You'd think somebody would go, hey, let's fix this problem that every gamer ever has. Oh, well.
Yeah. No, it's frustrating for sure.
So, Will, how hard are you going to go on the factoids of the movie? Because I actually have quite a few for this one, but I'll let you, it's your thing. So
no, balls in your court, man. I actually don't. I have very little written down and ready for this specific episode.
Oh, okay.
So I'll be the Brian, you'll be the Will.
Sounds good.
I'm really curious how this is going to go because we watched. Well, we'll discuss it, I guess, when it's live.
This is a movie that people love and hate, like in equal measure. So I'm kind of curious. I have a feeling we're going to have a wide spread of scores on this one, and I love that.
We shall see. Oh, it's 2013. I have the wrong date.
You do. I was going to say something, but then I didn't.
And it's not even a movie about time travel. And thank you for the sub, Enola. I appreciate that. I saw that come in when we were testing our cameras. Everybody in chat reminding me of all the losses we had the last day and a half.
I know. I logged on and instantly somebody's like, so Peter Cullen, huh? I'm like, damn it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, but
yeah, it's been a tough week. Been a tough week that way.
Yeah, can't live forever.
Nah.
I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, I got to make a score for this. That's probably something I should do before we get started, right?
Make it up on the fly.
Dan's not recording the top of my head for half the stream.
Somebody was saying they wanted to jump in for the last couple of minutes of this episode, and I can't remember. Was that you, Bubba, or was that somebody else? But somebody had like a 5-minute take they wanted to throw out there, I think, from the watch party. Oh, maybe it was Miss Hillary next week about Donnie Darko. She wants to jump in on that one. But anyways, if anybody does have a take, we'd love to have you on for like a couple of minutes just to come in, say your piece, and bounce out. It'd be greatly appreciated. Love to have a guest on for a short time. But not you, good enough. I will drop it. It's a little after 9. We're a little late getting started. You guys want to just jump right in, or?
Let's do it.
That was weird.
You thought that was weird. Just you wait.
I'm actually really curious about where this conversation is going to go.
It's well, it's yeah. I mean, yep. Save it for the curtain open. Save it for the curtain open.
Skinny Matthew. Okay. Skinny Matthew, let me know when that hoodie arrives. Curious what your thoughts are on it. I freaking love mine, but I'm also super biased.
I mean, you're only biased to the logo that's on it. If you think that it's comfortable, then that's
I actually legit do think it's comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I got
rid of all the merch that I didn't think was comfortable, like all the hats that fit weird or the shirts that aren't whatever. I just got rid of them. I'm just not going to sell something that somebody doesn't actually want to physically wear.
I bought a bunch of shirts of one design, and they're fine, like they're shirts, they do what they do. And then I bought one in this style and instantly switched all of my shirts over to that style. Like like canceled one. Was just like, nope, that's the comfortable one. We're going with that. But yeah, no, it's a different thing. The hats, I haven't taken the hats off of whatever it's called, fourth wall, because like I see other people wear the hats, so I just assume, okay, my head's too big. Like I find them really uncomfortable, but I also have a massive head. Like the reason I have this hat in 4 different colors is because it's the first hat that I found in like a decade and a half that actually is comfortable. So I'm just like, all right, I'm buying all
7 3/4 probably. Or you don't do inches, do you? So it wouldn't be
extra large. I don't know. All hats are different, right? Like there's no like it says extra large, but that doesn't necessarily mean the same thing.
Right.
Because like I can get like Under Armour and it kind of fits, but then if I grab an extra large Adidas, it's nowhere close to fitting or whatever, right? So like these Michael Jordan ones, I mean, if I could cut this logo off and not damage the hat, I would in a heartbeat. Nothing against Michael Jordan, just I'd rather have the blank hat. But they're like the only hat that I like that's comfortable. Anyways, point of that is I haven't taken the fourth wall ones off because I assumed other people thought they were comfortable. Hearing you say that you don't like them, maybe I will get rid of them because that's the same thing. I don't want people to spend money and be unhappy.
There's a couple hats that I left up because people said they like them, and I don't, but that's fine. But there were a couple that I definitely took down. I was like, nope, I can't support this in any way, shape, or form.
Totally fair. The toque's actually okay. A little tight, but again, I have a giant head. Or sorry, the beanie, if you would.
Wow.
I didn't know what a toque was until I met Will, and now I call it a toque. and all my American friends look at me like, what? What did you just say? Like they don't even know what it is.
Well, that's how most of you guys looked at us when I started telling about them.
Yeah.
But it's funny because like there's a lot of things I don't even realize they're Canadianisms. You know what I mean? Like I just didn't even realize the toque was not called a toque everywhere. I was like, it's a hat.
Yeah,
exactly.
So,
all right, let's do this.
All right,
let's do it.
Stop that. What? I was looking for graphics. No, it's just Will. It's just Will.
Oh, it's just me. Just me. All right, here we go. All aboard. Crazy, but that's how it goes. Millions of people living as foes. Maybe it's not too late to learn how to love and forget how to hate. Mental wounds not healing. Life's a bitter shame. I'm going off the rails on this crazy train. I'm going off the rails on this crazy train.
I don't know if we have the rights to that song. I don't know if we can use that.
I figured because I'm not singing it, we'll be fine.
Here's hoping. It's an artist rendition. You changed it enough that it counts. I'm going to zoom out a little bit because I feel a little too close.
Up in our grill here.
Yeah, a little bit.
Did you intentionally add some Optimus Prime to your background there?
I did, but not for this stream, just for other stuff. Although it's really glary. I'm just going to get rid of that real quick.
Sorry, I didn't mean to distract you.
Although Peter Cullen, maybe I do leave it up.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking.
You still got the logos there. It's fine.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Mongol. No. Sorry, I was reading my shirt. My bad. The mini channel, exactly, Anthony. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Our Rating, the show where I get together with two of my buddies. We take a movie franchise, break it down by movie, give it an overall score, and then throw it back up on the board to see where it lands compared to the other movie franchises. This week, however, we are doing our Patreon pick, which is where you guys get to decide the movie we're going to watch. So this week, we are talking about 2013's Snowpiercer, directed by, I'm going to mess that up. I'm going to cut that out right now because I don't know if I know how to pronounce his name.
Bong Joon-ho.
Will, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing great. Dan, I'm excited that school starts next week so I can get my little rebellious child out of my face.
Is this your kid's first year in school?
Grade 1, but
Grade 1, okay.
He was full-time in primary and pre-primary, like full days, 5 days a week. So it's old hat by this point.
Brian, how are you doing? Your kids have probably been in school for a couple of weeks at this point.
Yeah, about a month. They're finishing their last 5-day week. They go to 4 days a week from here on through the rest of the year. I'm having a frustrating week. I accidentally trimmed my beard wrong, so I'll probably be fondling my face even more than usual because that irritates me. And I've been dealing with depression, so I'm happy to be here because this night always cheers me up, and I'm glad I made it.
I was going to make a joke, and then you brought in the depression. Now I feel
I know, but we are.
It's a dose of realism. It's hard for me to, get sarcastic and be humorous and everything when I'm just trying to pull up from the dumps here.
We'd rather you be your true self, and we're happy you're here. Dan, what about you, sir? How was your week?
My week's been okay. As you know, we've talked about a lot about me trying to sell my house, trying to get the house we want. The new house that we wanted did officially sell, unfortunately. And we cannot find anything else in the area in our price range that is better than the house we currently have. So we're still technically on the market, but we've completely lost our appetite. And we're just kind of like, we'll
unbox the DVDs.
So, right, exactly. We've got a showing on Saturday, and we're kind of just dreading it. We're kind of just like, if we didn't have a showing Saturday, we could just start unpacking and living again in our house. So it's like, and then we're going to do one last show just on the off chance. But like realistically, even if it sells, we have nothing to buy. So it's like,
yeah.
Feels kind of like we're just wasting everybody's time. That being said, it's been a pretty good week. Otherwise, it's my youngest daughter's birthday this week. So we got some fun time in with her. We did a birthday party at a bowling alley last weekend, an arcade. Got to see all that kind of stuff. And then tomorrow is our actually like family birthday gathering for her. So we got some fun little gifts under the tree. Got some fun little gifts to give to her, and I'm pretty excited to see her reaction to that. So that'll be amazing. But other than that, we're here to talk about Snowpiercer. This is a Patreon pick. We did it in the watch party with a bunch of the patrons, however you want to pronounce that. Always a good time to watch this movie in the Patreon with other people. But the general mood in there was a little bit sour, which I was kind of surprised at. Now, I don't necessarily want to get your overall feelings of the movie right off the bat, but did that surprise you, the general reaction to this movie?
Surprised me a little bit, yeah.
I guess I should say I've seen this movie before.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen it before?
I've seen it before. And I was surprised at the reactions in the watch party a little bit.
I have not seen this movie before. This was the first time I watched it, so I was excited to see it. I've heard a lot of things about the movie, and they have a TV show now out as well, as far as I know. So I was happy to be able to watch that. It was good.
I have no idea if the show is still going or not. I heard a lot about it before it came out, and then it kind of just came out, and I've never heard anything about it since.
I believe it is no longer running. I don't remember how many seasons it was. I watched I watched a few episodes of the first season, and I just really didn't get into it. Didn't seem that bad, but it was like I'd already seen the movie and wasn't super excited over the premise, so just dropped off.
It did feel kind of like, I feel like that was the general consensus, is like people who saw the first season or half season or whatever were kind of like, I've seen this, it's just longer. Like it's not really adding a ton, it's just longer. So not terribly upset that I skipped that, but
and honestly, the show didn't resolve one of my biggest issues with this movie, which is the physicality of the train, the physics of it all, the whole point of the train constantly moving, going on the tracks. I have a huge problem with the size of the train. If you're going to have the remainder of humanity, which we'll get to the whole extinct business. I know Will had issues with that. I'll probably let him take that one. But the whole of humanity is now on board this train, or what is left of it. And they're supposed to be surviving for generations. The damn thing's just too small. And I understand that was a directorial choice. Bong Joon-ho, I cannot remember or pronounce his name. I'm sorry. The director made some choices that he was going to say, hey, the lowest class in society will be at the tail. The wealthiest will be at the front. We're going to transition. We're going to show lots of differences in those transitions. But he left out everything about the mechanics, the upkeep, the maintenance, living quarters, who's cooking, where the food's coming from. All that stuff is just left out. And I guess it's supposed to be understood that those cars exist. We just didn't get to see them. But the size of this train just looks so small to me. It really bothered me, and I hated that part.
So the train is supposed to be over 1,000 carts long. So yeah, we don't come close to seeing everything. We do see multiple scenes where they're making food, whether it's out of crickets or out of fish. But also, like, the train doesn't... The train making sense physically is not the point of the movie. The train is an allegory. It's not.
And that was the choice. Exactly. Yeah. It's an allegory for the class warfare that's going on and the society structure and the big pictures, the big ideas that this movie's trying to tackle.
Yeah, and I kind of let it go because of that. Like, it's not trying to be super realistic.
Right.
Like, it is a hyper stylized version of what they're trying to tell. Right. And I bounce back and forth between whether or not this movie is the allegory that it's going for is way too on the nose, or if it kind of misses the point. And like that's kind of what I was hitting on, because I thought it was really on the nose, but then in the watch party, people were making fun of things, no offense, like the train, and I'm just like, that's not the point. Like, why is that the focal point? Like, it was just interesting. Yeah. So I'm curious to hear your opinions on your takes on it, I guess.
I think it's a sci-fi action movie, right? So when you see that on the poster, sci-fi action, you're kind of maybe going in looking for that. And this is kind of that, but I think it's more heavily weighted towards this class war and the fall of man and what have you. And I haven't seen this movie. I hadn't seen the TV show. When I was watching this, though, I was like, I think this would make a better TV show, because it does feel fast, which is also a struggle bus in my mind, or a train, so to speak, because I felt like I was kind of bored watching this movie, because I knew kind of how it was going to go. You know, they're going to make it to the engine. They're going to make it through the train, and it's going to end by either the train stopping or the train continuing. Like, there's no real big reveals here. And so I was like kind of bored, but I was also like, oh, there's so many cool cars that you get to see like a sneak peek of. Whereas in like a TV show, maybe you could expand on like all of these crazy train cars and how this actually is set up and working and functioning as this 1,000 train barreling around the world. And you know, there's just so much of that interest that you don't get in this movie. And again, that's not what the movie's focus is, and that's fine. But maybe that could take away for some people's viewing.
Now, you mentioned that there's no big reveals in this one. There are arguably two. They're kind of right back together, like back to back. So they're both right near the very end. We're going to spoil this, by the way, if you haven't seen the movie before. It's 12 years old, 13 years old. We do get the reveal that like Chris Evans' mentor, whose name I don't have directly in front of me for some reason, was working with Gilliam was working with Wilford the entire time, and like the entire rebellion was kind of built into, like, it's baked into the cake that is the Snowpiercer, the train.
They went from let's start a rebellion and take over the train to this rebellion is part of how the train functions, and it's part of how their society works. It's just another mechanism of the train to keep everything in balance. Every so often they have to have a rebellion because they need to have a big kill off of people so that they can get back to equilibrium. And he realizes that whether he's at the front or Wilford's at the front, the train's going to continue, the system is going to continue, the cycle continues. And then it becomes a question of, if we stop the train, we could be ending life as we know it. Is that the right thing to do? Right? Yeah. That becomes a big question. So it flips a lot of things on its head, on its side. And his Chris Evans' character's whole idea was that he needs to get to the front of the train, when really he was missing the whole point that there's a different society, a different social structure that we could be looking at altogether. And that's the other guy who wants to blow the door off and get out of the train. That's his idea. And we don't realize that until the very end.
Yeah, the engineer or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, you have the entire movie believing that Chris Evans is the revolutionary, and it turns out he's just another cog in the machine, and it's actually the drunkard, the drug addict who's the revolutionary, but he's so passive the entire movie. You don't see that. Maybe you don't see that coming until the very end when it actually is starting to happen. He's just the guy who gets you through the door. You don't realize that he's got his own machinations the entire time beyond just getting high.
Those small plot points aside, it still ends one of two ways, right? Like that's the end of the movie. Still the end of the movie, and that's why I'm like, oh, you know where it's going. Unless they're like taking it to space or something that you're not going to understand or see coming.
But doesn't that feel like every action movie ever, though? Like either Bruce Willis is going to kill Hans or Hans is going to kill Bruce Willis. It's only going to end one of two ways.
Sure. I guess maybe it's just the claustrophobic nature of this movie, the pure linear
progression through the train
progression in this movie that it just seemed so blah to me, like
it had one trajectory. Basically they were going to get to the front and we were going to find out what happens, and that's kind of it. We did get something that was quite interesting and I really enjoyed, although I don't think the script adopted this idea well enough, is that Chris Evans comes to the front and he's this, he's literally Captain America. He's the best of the best, the good guy, and he's leading everybody. And he seems like such a wonderful person that everybody cares for. And at the very end, you find out he was a horrible person, even a coward. He was eating people, eating babies. He says that he knows what babies taste like. He actually says babies taste the best. I know what people taste like. And it's a horrifying revelation that his character is actually a horrible person trying to find goodness, trying to do right after such a horrible start. And that was really cool. The problem is that I don't believe it. I just don't believe his character ever came from that place. There was zero foreshadowing of that at all, other than the scar on his arm, which was just part of the story. The way his character acted and everything, I saw nothing that would lead me to believe that he was a person who came from something bad. And that kind of sucked. The reveal was so shocking, it was unbelievable. And so it was a cool idea, but they didn't pull it off quite well enough.
Do you think that is because it was Chris Evans? I'm not ragging on him as an actor, but because he is the Captain America type, he is the Boy Scout, he doesn't have a dark side to him.
I think it was the script, the way it was written. Everybody in the back cars loved him, and he ate babies in front of them. They wouldn't be that accepting of him. You know?
But in fairness, most of the people who survived by eating people. So it's not like he's any worse than the rest of them.
That's
maybe
true.
the 17-year-old who doesn't know that about him, because probably he's not going to tell the kid, oh, by the way, I ate your mother.
Yeah.
But for everybody else, that's how they survived. Even when Gilliam cuts his arm off and feeds it to people, they're still eating human. Just because he's a willing participant doesn't make it better.
And that's what it turned into, is that was the turning point of he offered a little sacrifice, and then other people, you see multiple people in the train car that are limbless, and they set it up like, oh, that's a punishment that they've put on these people. But in reality, mostly it's people sacrificing their limbs for the betterment and survival of all.
Self-imposed.
I just...
I kind of liked the reveal that he couldn't do it. He wanted to, and he couldn't bring himself to do it.
Right.
Because you mentioned
like
he is kind of a coward, and this is kind of his redemption arc.
Even though
at the end, I kind of get the impression that Wilford does his job. I feel like Wilford does convince him, no, keeping the train going, keeping this broken system going is the way to keep it moving forward. I don't get the impression that if the bomb didn't go off, he was going to derail the train.
No, he gave him the matches to set the bomb off.
Yeah,
sure, but if there wasn't a bomb, if the other guy sets the explosive, sure, okay, you're right, he does do that.
Yeah,
but the turning point is the children. He sees the children running the machine, and he's like, "That's too far."
Yeah,
this
it's
isn't
too
a
much.
society. This isn't a sustainable thing. I'm not sacrificing any more babies. And so that was the turning point. So he would give the match.
And so
blow it
he
all.
gave his arm to pull
Yeah.
that kid out of there. So he
Only true
sacrificed his arm to
leaders.
save the baby. And
Only
so he
true
got
leaders.
redemption there, and then gave them the matches to blow it off the rails, because he realized that it doesn't matter who's in front. It's always going to be a nightmare. This society just has to collapse, and we have to start over.
Yeah.
Which leads us to another. Go ahead. Do you want to go ahead?
Sorry, while we're talking about him losing his arm, there is something I'm curious about. I don't necessarily want to watch this for a third time, but I am very curious because I'm pretty sure he loses the same arm that Gilliam lost, right? Like they're both their left arms.
Yes.
So
yes, it was his left arm.
We see Wilfred as well as Mason, the Tilda Swinton character, are constantly doing this motion with their hands that mimics the children in the machine, and it's almost like a religious thing for them.
Yeah.
Are they doing that with their left arm? So that's why he says only good leaders. You can't be a good leader with two working arms, because they both lose the arm that is that like forcing children motion.
I saw them doing the motion with the right arm, and the kid was doing it with his right arm. I don't think the left arm has anything to do with that. I think
that's what I was just curious about. I just wouldn't.
They gave an arm. It didn't matter. It just they just gave an arm.
I believe the whole "you can't be a good leader with two arms" is more. That is like the greatest. You're literally sacrificing a piece of you to better and let people live.
You're giving up a piece of yourself to help others.
Exactly. That's leadership. And so he had to lose his arm to be able to actually redeem himself, I guess, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I had somewhere I was going to go and I completely forgot it.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair.
My apologies.
I don't know. It's all right.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. Okay. On a positive for me, the movie is beautifully shot. It is not your typical Hollywood action movie, which is A-okay by me. Definitely more of the Korean vibe film, which was kind of refreshing to see with all these, big name actors and all that. What they did with like the profile shots and long shots to like maximize them feeling this claustrophobic way in the train cars was really cool. The lighting and the colorful set pieces I thought was really cool in this movie. That's really what stood out to me, was like the filmmaking. It was more an art piece in that way. The story was like, it felt like Hunger Games to me. It just felt like there's been so many of these like class war stories that it's not fulfilling me anymore. I've seen, and to the point where like even like the high class people are these like weird zany characters, just like in Hunger Games. And I just thought you can go a different direction in that
kind of just like in real life too.
Sure, but I mean, it's even so much more like over the top in these movies. It's almost so stylized. Like
watch a Met Gala.
I mean, they're dressed. The dress I understand, but like the way they talk and act is like really out there as well. And
they are very, very much in a cult, right? Like this is literally a religious experience for most of them. Like they're worshiping the train. They're worshiping Wilfred. We see Alison Pill does an amazing job as the teacher for the one scene that she gets.
I agree with that. I just feel like children who the train babies, that makes sense. They're growing up fully enveloped by the cult, being taught from day one. But all these older characters, they know what life was like prior to this. They're just like playing the part, and it just feels weird to me.
Look, I don't want to go super deep, but like, how many grown adults do you see in massive religions who are, what I mean? Like it kind of checks.
For me, it felt like a play. It felt like a play, and that's kind of how I watch this movie, is that it is a play that's showcasing class warfare, and I can enjoy it for what it is. But like Will, I'm getting sick of the Hunger Games kind of movies. Isn't Tilda Swinton in Hunger Games?
I don't know.
Great question. Let's find out together.
Definitely possible.
The woman who gives those amazing speeches. I loved her character, but I feel like they just snatched her character out of a Hunger Games movie and put her on this train. Like, I feel like
that's
she was riding the train to Sector 7 or something. It just
yeah.
So
doesn't look like it.
Honestly, and she kind of upstaged a lot of this movie because her performance was so amazing, her character was so amazing, and I just really enjoyed her little monologues that she would give from time to time. So, loved that. I wasn't a huge fan of Chris Evans in this film. He did a good job in the role, but it was like the characters he was up against, his character felt a little flat and one-dimensional, and then to be flipped hard at the very end didn't jive with me so well. It was mostly just in comparison with these other characters. John Hurt as Gilliam did a fantastic job as that elderly wisdom character. I thought it was really good. I love that he had like an umbrella hook for an arm. Great touches. And then to get back to what Will said about the look of this movie was so artistic. Who is it? It's Bong Joon-ho. I'm trying to get his name right. He wanted us to witness the change as they progress through these cars, and he did a great job in showcasing that. As they move forward, the cars become more colorful, more exotic, more elaborate, and it was a really cool touch. Again, I wish the train was twice as wide, and I wish that when they ran into things, you didn't see it almost fall off the track. It's just saying so stupid. Like they had an aquarium that was several cars in front of them that they had gone through those ice things and rocked the train nearly off the tracks. And I'm like, that would have shattered that aquarium train. Like, I'm glad we didn't see that aquarium train beforehand because we would have known those fish would have been dead. Lots of things didn't make sense, but that's the train issue.
Yeah, I just don't think that's the point. I mean, if that bothers you, it bothers you. I can't take that away, but it's not.
It's not the point. Little note though,
you're missing the forest for the trees on that one. I think
in filming this, they built all these train cars on actual gimbals. So when they're fighting and the train's rocking, they look real good moving around, which is another positive to the filming of this movie. They put in the work to make it look real good. One of my favorite sequences is when they come into that train and she says, "Don't open the door." And they open the door and there's all those dudes in black masks and leather. And they bring out that big fish and they gut it for the poison, the poison guts on their blades. And they pass it back to really scare them. Like that was a very surreal moment. And fucking Weinstein wanted to cut that shit from the movie. And Juho told him, he said, "Well, my father was a fisherman, and this means very." What's his name?
Bong Joon-ho.
Bong Joon-ho. Okay, so Bong Ho says, "My father was a fisherman, and this scene means a lot to me because he was a fisherman." And Weinstein says, "Okay, well, family's important, so we'll keep it in." His father's not a fisherman. He said that shit to keep the peace in the movie, and I'm glad he did. Weinstein wanted to cut 20 minutes out of this film, and although I do believe there was some parts that could have been cut out, Weinstein wanted to cut out all of the dialogue about Chris Evans eating babies. He wanted to cut out all the class warfare stuff. He wanted it to be a straight-up action flick. He wanted to make this into Bullet Train, basically. And I'm glad that didn't happen.
As much as you say the conversation with Chris Evans doesn't work for his character, I think the movie would be demonstrably worse without that. If he was just an incredibly noble, good-looking, amazing
if he was
character
Captain America, yeah.
Right. I just don't think that would serve the movie. You're not wrong that he could have had a bit more of an edge to him, but I think he's not supposed to. Like you're not.
I wanted to have some foreshadowing of his flaws.
I think you're not. I think you're supposed to be rooting for him the entire time without
knowing what a horrible person he came from,
without any hint of that. And then it flips being like, careful who you idolize, because just like everybody else is idolizing Wilfred, the whole back train is idolizing this guy, and it's like, does he deserve it? No.
Now here's something to know. Wilfred, no, Gilliam. Gilliam says, as soon as you see Wilfred, cut out his throat. Don't let him speak to you. Tongue. Don't let him speak to you was the message. Because he didn't want Curtis to know that it was an entire setup. Now, does that mean that Gilliam changed his mind and actually wanted Curtis to take over the train and try and change this society? Or was he worried that Curtis would find out and not have the guts to take over the train, and he wanted the cycle to continue, and he knew that Wilford would screw it all up by running his stupid monologue? I don't know.
There's a lot of things in this movie that are, you could take one way or the other. I think think that's one of them. Is it a matter of he doesn't want Wilford to out him, or is it a matter of he knows that Wilford has a silver tongue and will turn Chris Evans, which I think I honestly kind of think that he does, to some extent at least.
To a degree.
I don't think Gilliam thought that they would ever get that far, right? Like, if you watch it again, knowing what's happening, most of the time Gilliam's like, are you still planning on pushing forward? We should wait. We should wait for another red letter. We should hold off. This isn't the right time. Like, Gilliam is fairly actively trying to convince him not to have the rebellion, or have the rebellion not be as successful as it is. So I think at that point he's like, oh crap, like, cut his tongue out, because either, as you mentioned, he's going to out me or he's going to turn you. Either situation's bad for Gilliam. Now, it doesn't work out well for Gilliam anyway, so it doesn't really matter for him. But I personally think it's the silver tongue option. I think it is that he's going to talk his way out of the situation. So we have to make sure that he doesn't have the opportunity to do that.
But none of it really matters, because the whole freaking world is extinct. They keep using that term over and over. And Will, you had a lot of issue with that.
Yeah. I just don't know if they exactly understood the meaning of extinction, but it's fine. You know, cigarettes can be extinct, I guess. They're not a living object or anything, but whatever. It was just, I found it humorous, the amount of times they were like, we have to use extinct so that everybody knows how important this train is and how futile life is outside of this train. I'm just like, okay, we get it. And I felt kind of like that with the dialogue overall. Now, this was like, I think it's based on like a French graphic novel.
Yeah, from 1982.
And the director or writer isn't English. I'm guessing is not his first language either. This is, I think, the first English movie he directed and wrote. So there could be some reasons why some of the dialogue wasn't 100% there for me. But, you know, he gets the message across, obviously, for what he's trying to do.
I think there's two things at play with the extinction. One is just dialect changes over time, right? Like, certain words come in and out of whatever. But also, I think...
Popularity,
yeah. Thank you. I think a lot of what we know about this movie comes from Wilfred's propaganda. And I think, you know, humanity's extinct and all that is part of that. And in fact, at the very end, we see that because there's a polar bear when they get off the train. We are taught that everything is dead. Everything is extinct that is not on this train. Polar bears are predators. He's eating something. He had to eat something for 17 years.
If there's a healthy polar bear, there's healthy seals or penguins or something around.
Right. So clearly what they know about the train is incorrect. And because they are our narrator, we have an unreliable narrator. What we know of the world is incorrect. So like right off the bat, like the dialogue at the beginning says humanity is extinct. And then it contradicts itself by being like, except for the people on the train. So right off the bat, we know, okay, extinct doesn't mean what we think it does. It's just their word for scarce or long gone or from a world that no longer exists. But I think honestly, there's definitely a chance that humanity is alive off of the plane, off of the train.
I think so too. I think so as well. I as soon as the movie kicks off and you're going and they're starting to look outside, and then what's his name? The engineer is like, I was talking to this Inuit woman and she knows all about ice and snow. You know, once humans are removed from the equation, the world is going to be okay. Like, I mean, that's just the way the world works.
Humanity is incredibly adaptable. I'm sure there are people living in those buildings deep underground or something. And I don't know. I think that the world has continued.
But I don't think the world as society has continued. I think they revert to survivalist, animalistic ways and have survived like nature intended, not this humans just destroying everything in their wake. Which I think the train is still symbolizing.
Also,
sorry.
Do you guys feel that seeing the polar bear at the end is a big enough sign of life? Is that enough hope for humanity? Also, we have two basically children that survived the entire thing, a little boy and a little girl, and they're meandering off behind a polar bear who's probably going to eat them. I felt that was not enough of a literal olive branch. That was not enough sign of life, that life is going to continue. I felt that was too bleak. I think they should have walked off and found a community of people or something, right? Found something else to let me know that they're going to survive, or else not kill the entire train.
Again, there's a lot of things in this movie that can be taken two ways. And I think the polar bear is very purposefully that, because you've got an apex predator. So is it hopeful? Because having an apex predator must have something to eat. So life has found a way. Or is it dreary because you have an apex predator staring them down? These two aren't going to make it. And it's kind of up to you to decide which of those two endings you're actually watching. Same thing with, I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can take the fish. Is it an intimidation tactic? Is it them poisoning their weapons? So like, even if we die, we're still going to make you sick and you're going to die down the road? Or is it just a, look what we have? Like, you guys have been eating bugs. We can waste a fish. That's how much money and opulence we have. And it's just a mind game. Like, there's so many different ways you can take.
It was supposed to be two of those things. We are going to waste a fish that you've probably haven't seen in 17 years, and we're going to poison our weapons with it. That's why Chris Evans looks at his friend and says, "Be careful," which maybe it wasn't necessary. Maybe that line wasn't necessary, but I think it was necessary because they wanted the audience to know this is a poisonous fish that they're putting its guts all over their weapons. I don't know.
I mean, people made fun of that in the watch party, but like, how many times do you tell somebody when they're going like, oh, be safe, or like safe trip or something like that when they go away? Like, do you have to tell them that? Or are they going to be safe while they're driving anyways? I don't know. Like, is it unnecessary? Is it just something people do?
I don't know. But my question is, for you guys, like, yes, you can take it either way. But for you guys, was the ending bleak, hopeless, hopeful? What was it? Will, what do you think?
In my mind, it's a hopeful ending. I mean, yeah, the train derailed. I'm guessing some people survived aside from those two. And it did show that the world is becoming, or is habitable already. And so at the end, it's a hopeful, like, hey, it's a reset. It's a reset, and we have a chance to do it again, maybe better. But, you know, as history tends to repeat itself, it's bleak because it'll just end up in the same train over and over again.
I like the ending for a couple of different reasons. For one, it's not specifically one thing or the other. I agree with Will. Like, I do take it more hopeful. But it's also very purposeful. I think it's two children who survive, two people who, you know, we've seen the system. It doesn't work. It destroyed itself, and now we've got two people who don't really know how the system worked and can create a new system. Are they going to create the same system? I don't know, maybe, but they're not. Like, if Chris Evans and Wilford had survived, for instance, and that's a bad example because they're both men, but if you had Tilda Swinton's character and Curtis, then you've got class warfare continuing. This way you can kind of have a fresh new beginning, and you do have a boy and a girl, so like, you could have.
Well, and we're not going to repopulate the planet with two people, right?
Yeah.
But we're not going to have a surviving ecosphere on a train either. So all of this is representative. So I have to just go, okay, these two kids represent a rebirth of humanity. It's not really going to happen, but that's what we're talking about in the context of this story. That's why I think Snowpiercer is a good movie, because it uses a fraction of something to explain a much larger thing and allows the audience to take from it what they may. And it gets people like us talking about the movie afterwards. What did you think this meant? What did you think that meant? And so it gets you talking. So for that reason alone, Snowpiercer gets a thumbs up from me, and I think it's a pretty decent overall movie. There are just a ton of little things that keep hanging me up, and most of those are the physics of the situation, like the train tracks, for crying out loud. How are they going to repair the train tracks as they go around? Like, there were so many little things that I was like, you wasted a lot of unnecessary dialogue on things when you could have put in a line here that says, oh, the train uses a nanotech hood scoop to gather ice and turn it into water for the rest of the train and repairs itself, or some, black box dialogue of how some things work to help a guy like me get through it. But that's not what this movie is about. So unfortunately, this new movie is also not really for me.
There is a line of dialogue about how the train picks up water or snow and converts it to water and whatnot, right?
Right.
Okay.
But how does it repair itself? And
Wilford?
Wilford's tending to the engine. He's over there with his little dish rag, like wiping a spot off of it. Like, that's your tending to the engine? What is this crap? Like, come on. If it was like an AI that needed to have human interaction to like keep it from going psychotic, that would have been something. I don't know. But
the engine is looked at as God, right? Like, they are literally worshiping the engine. So he has to keep it immaculate. Is it doing anything? Not really. But that's where like the kids are coming in, right? Like, as the train's falling apart, he's replacing it with children to do the parts that the machine should have done. Now, on the outside of the train, you're right. If the train tracks go, they're screwed. So again, allegory more so than physics. You kind of touched on this already, I guess. Sure. Will, you kind of touched on this already, but I'm going to ask you anyways. You've ripped into a couple of action movies that we've touched on before for being like kind of pointless, not really much story to them. Now we have an action movie that does have something to say. And I'm going to just guess you're going to be the lowest score amongst the three of us here. Is that just purely the Hunger Games aspect of it? Or
I mean, not just Hunger Games. I just feel like these class war movies have been very popular for like the last it's like the Marvel superhero movies, it's just they're played, so I'm just kind of bored by it, and I didn't know what this was coming into it. So once I was like, oh, it's a class war movie, it's just like, okay, I've seen this a dozen different times. Does this add to it? Does it reinvent it? Or is it giving me more of kind of just the same of what we've been seeing? And aside from it being shot much differently and presented that way, like imagery wise, very beautifully, I didn't get a whole lot from it. And so I don't know. It just didn't wow me for what it was. And the action is actiony. There's some shaky cam in there. It didn't kill it for me, but it wasn't about the action. It was about the class war, right? So it's like not even an action movie, really. So maybe it just has trouble knowing what it is or presenting a strong enough case for what it wants to be.
I agree with Will's synopsis on the whole class warfare thing being played out. I'm just really frustrated that it's always this dynamic that the wealthy are bad and the poor are good. That's not how it is in real life. Everybody just now wants to believe that. Everybody just wants to believe that right now. And it's very frustrating to me. So I don't like that spin on it. And the best part of this tired story is that they make it kind of convoluted and a little open to interpretation. So that's kind of nice. But I do like the action. I didn't mind the shaky cam stuff. I think it was also shot beautifully as well.
That wasn't exactly what I was saying, but similar reasons for not enjoying the movie.
You don't like the trope for other reasons. I don't like it because, once again, it's positioning the wealthy as the bad people and the poor as the victims. And I just don't see life as reality like that. That's just not how I see it.
I don't know if I see Wilfred as a bad guy. He is
psycho for sure, but he's doing what he believes is right, like everybody.
Doing everything in his power to keep the human race alive, as far as he knows it.
As far as he believes it, yes.
So, like,
right. No villain believes they're a villain.
Exactly. So, like, him being rich and having that power in order to make this train and have these people, and then all these poor people sneaking onto the train unannounced and unwelcomed, he somehow found a way to keep them aboard. He's doing everything he can. He just knows there's got to be ultimate sacrifices and whatnot and so forth. But I just feel like overall, when there is such a divide in class and power, it just seems very strange to me that those who have wouldn't be more willing to give to those who don't. And that's not being good or bad, but it's definitely being selfish.
I don't agree with that at all. I just don't agree with that at all.
That's fine.
How political do we get?
Well, it's a political movie.
I don't think we need to get political. This is just a wealth dive.
Well, not political. Like, I don't want to talk about, like, you know, the president or anything, but I mean, like,
Lord knows I don't want to either.
How many? Correct me if I'm wrong. Will, you were talking about, you know, why do the people who have so much not want to give more of it to the lessers?
Yeah.
And Brian, you say that's what you disagree with? Isn't that the definition of capitalism?
I don't agree that giving to people who have less is the right thing to do. I don't believe
that makes more sense. Okay.
I don't believe that solves a problem.
I disagree with you, but that makes more sense.
Teaching them to fish. I believe that, you know, there's a reason that in Yosemite there's signs that say don't feed the deer, they will become dependent on the handout. And I don't think that we should be necessarily handing out things to the homeless because they will become dependent on that sort of situation. I believe that we should put in place systems to allow people to progress out of that depravity, out of that despair. But you can't just give them things. That never has worked.
But where is the we're getting political. Where are these systems being placed, and where's the money coming from to put those into place? Because obviously the houseless people who have no money can't put those systems into place themselves.
That's right. So you have things like Social Security and different welfare programs.
Not for long.
that protect people, and they do have to come from wealthy people because there is nothing on the other end. But you can't just give everything to everyone and have us all live equally, because if I work twice as hard as you and we both get the same, I'm not going to work twice as hard anymore. And the system starts to collapse. So you have to have some sort of incentive to push forward. You have to have a carrot at the end of that stick for people to chase after, or they're going to stop moving. But a lot of people choose to live at a baseline level because they don't have to do anything and they're still going to survive, and that's good enough for them. And that's fine. That's fine with me if that's where you want to be. But I don't think I'm a villain because I want to achieve more. I don't think I'm a bad person because I want to keep what I have earned, the sweat off my brow. You know, I think that I should be allowed that.
By no definition, no offense, are you the rich in this scenario? You are not the person anybody is coming after or asking from or anything.
Absolutely.
It's the people at the front of the train. Let's keep it on movie for the sake of it. It's people at the front of the train who have way more than they could ever spend or ever eat or ever use, and still. Yes,
Wilfred's having a steak. You know, where do they keep the cow? Somebody asked that in chat. Where do they keep the cow, right? He's having a steak while they're eating bugs and body parts in the back. That's extreme disparity, and they need to fix something, right? They definitely need to put something in place, and that's why I think Chris Evans' character Curtis could have taken over the train and been like, hey, we can still have up and down, but we could trade with the back. We could give them some dirt to grow things in and let them try. Like, there's things you could do to level it out a bit. You don't have to make it equal across the train. It's not this or that.
The back doesn't even have windows. They have no sunshine. Yeah. They can't grow a thing.
I don't know. Right? To me, that sounds like you're giving handouts, but that might just be what I've heard.
I just to get back on track, I disagree with this premise that the wealthy are bad simply because they're wealthy. And that's how this movie depicts it once again. And it's a straw man argument for this. And I want to see somebody do a much better argument. I want somebody to showcase something that looks way closer to reality, and that makes me stop and think and question my beliefs. This movie doesn't question my beliefs over economics and social welfare policy. This movie just makes me roll my eyes in disgust because it's such a weak, pathetic version of the truth. And so that's another reason I'm not too keen on Snowpiercer.
In fairness, I don't think the the rich in this case are like cartoon mustache twirling villainy. Like, as we mentioned, like Wilford is trying to keep the train on track. And unfortunately, the only people that can fit in that role are kids. But like, do you sacrifice one child to keep all of humanity alive?
I mean,
like,
yeah, that's a
bigger
point.
Question.
That is a point. And from Wilford's perspective, he's just decided to live with this, and he's made it okay. He's not gonna sleep, lay awake at night because he sacrificed a child. He's made the decision that this is for the greater good. This is how it has to be, and I'm just gonna have to be okay with it, which is crazy, but it also works from his perspective. The fact is that we had the singular perspective that in this movie is shown to be the right one, or possibly the right one, which is stop the train. That was hidden from us the entire movie until the very end. And
it was hinted at, I think, a little bit.
Right. He looks down and we see a plane down there, but we don't know what the hell he's looking at. We don't quite understand that until they loop back around to it, So, and I think that was interesting that, we're forced into the narrative of the class warfare without getting a glimpse at anything else until the very end of the movie is what we're shown. Oh, hey, let's just tip the train off the tracks and try it all over.
Yeah, I think it also kind of shows just that, there's the people in power and the people in the bottom, and obviously the system that is in place isn't working. However accurate it is to real life, what have you, but it's the engineer, it's the intelligence, it's the well-educated person who can see past the class war and the train itself and see a different way moving forward. And that's not moving forward on these tracks at all. It's beelining it to a whole different direction outside into the real world. And so I think that was an interesting, just insight as to why intelligence is so important, why education is so important. And again, getting political, obviously, with all of this movie, which is obviously its whole purpose. But I do believe the more chance that people have at bettering their education, the more chance we have at succeeding in coming together in multiple ways. Yeah.
And I think it also showcases that, they made a judgment on that engineer, and they held that judgment to the end. Everybody mocking him for being an addict the whole time. Everybody he's only worth this one thing, and we're going to use him for this one purpose, right? Turns out the guy had it right all along, and everybody had this judgment of him. And so, again, there's a little moral value. If you could set aside your judgments of people, you may find that there's better ways.
Yeah. He's also consistently throughout the movie looking at the outside world, where everyone else is 100% focused on the train itself. Just like, this is our world. This is Capsule, is all we have. He's the only one, him and his daughter, who are just consistently like, this is the world. Like, this is the world we could have, not the world we do have. And so that's what he's working towards, is changing that.
It's also interesting how they set the train up like that as well, because as you said, the back train cars have no windows. Those people don't even know what's going on. They're left literally in the dark. And then the middle train section with the middle class, they get to see what's outside to reaffirm that where they are is the place to be, because obviously we can't live out there. They make sure they point out the people who froze to death every time they pass it. They do that purposely to brainwash them into wanting to stay on this train. And then you get to like the lead cars where the wealthiest are, and they're just as drugged out as the guy who was in the prison cell or whatever the hell he was in. They are just like, you know what? This is life. I don't really care. I'm just going to get high and try to forget everything until it's over. So it's like crazy how that, I really liked how they did that. And with like the windows and windowless, how they designed the train in that way was kind of cool.
Yeah. I think Wilford even mentions we're all captive
We're all
on this
trapped, yeah.
train. We're all trapped here anyway. So he knows what's really happening, but he's chosen that this is the best it gets. And we're just going to hopefully keep everybody in agreement with me.
There is, I feel like I do need to mention, we do see a few small instances, and it's hinted at in other ways, but we do see a few small instances of people who have elevated themselves beyond their station, right? Like everybody in the back is like, oh, we're stuck in the back. But then when they get 2 carts up, they run into the chef, or whatever his role is, the Play-Doh maker. And they all know him. Like he clearly came from the back and has upped his station to the point where he's at. I also kind of get the impression that Mason, Tilda Swinton's character, probably didn't start at the top of the food train. She probably worked her way up to that as well. Maybe not from the back, but maybe from the middle up. So there is room for movement. It's not a matter of like, oh, you are, as she says, 100% a shoe. But what do you have to do to be able to earn that movement up? Like I would bet some of those guards, especially the ones wearing the full body mask so you can't see their faces, probably started life a little further back on the train than they're at currently.
Yeah, and
the violinist, the violinist.
Good call, violinist.
Yeah, and he's like they're fully indoctrinated. Like once they get a taste of what it can be like somewhere else, like he's not asking them like, "Hey, how's my wife?" Like nothing. He's just sitting there playing the violin for them. Like he recognized them. He must have. So I don't know. It's interesting. Like you can move up, but you almost lose a piece of yourself if you do.
It costs
Well, in order to move up the train, you have to accept it as the status quo. You have to accept this is the world we live in. Yeah. So anybody who's going to reject that is going to go further toward the back of the train or die, or in this movie, get lucky and blow up a door and get out, you know?
Yeah. Rating?
Let's blow up the rating on this movie.
Yeah.
If you like what we do and you want to help support us, consider joining our Patreon. There's a link down below. Thank you to our producers, as well as our executive producer, Dino. And a huge shout out to our writers, Miss Hillary, Real Bubba Hotep, and Windstorm114. You're all greatly appreciated.
So I thought that acting and dialogue were pretty good. Maybe the dialogue had some ups and downs. There were some great monologues by a couple of characters in this film. I think the direction was pretty good. I think there were a lot of things going against the director in this, but he held strong and made a much better film than it could have been. And I really like a lot of the way this movie was shot and filmed, the different lighting, the colors, the set scenes, all that stuff. Had lots of interesting things to talk about. It's just, I'm kind of tired of the Hunger Games kind of trope. And frankly, the physics of the movie bothered me, which that's not what this movie's about, but I get hung up on those sometimes. And I just had a hard time letting go of that. This one gets a 61. It's a pretty decent film. And I think it's got a lot of interesting things to talk about, but you really need to be interested in social structure type movies to really go for this.
All right. So as I mentioned, this was not my first time watching Snowpiercer. I saw it probably close to 2015 or so, like a little bit after it came out, with like still when it was something that people were talking about. I feel like this was a good, I don't know that this is Bong Joon-ho's first movie, but like it feels like a good first attempt at what he's trying to get at. And this leads the way to what I think is a much better movie from him about class warfare, which is Parasite down the road. But for Snowpiercer, I think it shows a lot of his chops in the sense like it looks gorgeous. For the budget they had for this movie, it looks really phenomenal. The acting from pretty much everybody across the board is really well done. Some of the action scenes are really cool. As we mentioned, this isn't really an action movie. It's more just a movie that does happen to have action in it. But specifically like the train fight with the bodyguards who have the axes. And then they go into the tunnel and it's black and white. And you get like one side literally can't even see what they're fighting. The other side's got infrared glasses or night vision goggles. I thought that was really cool, really imaginative. And I really enjoyed that scene. Overall, though, as much as I like the way this movie looks, and I like a lot of what it has to say, and even I feel like I was kind of defending it this whole time, I just wasn't that entertained the first or second time watching it. I think that it's interesting, and I think that it led to a really good conversation. But I feel like tonight, talking with Brian and Will was more interesting and more fun than the actual movie itself. So if it can generate that kind of conversation, or if you've got a group of people that can watch this and then discuss it afterwards, I think that's great. But I don't know that this is going to be that much of a fun watch. Just put on in your basement by yourself and just turn it off and be like, okay, that was a movie. I think the conversations that it sparks is better than the movie itself. I have to give it a score. I think this gets like a 72 for me. Like it's very good. It's really well made. Watch it once, discuss it, move on with your life.
Here I am once again, riding the train with my rating. It's a decent flick. I do think the director also wrote it. His vision was sound. I don't know the graphic novel, so I don't know how the adaptation actually plays out. But like Dan says, it gets the message across and gets people talking. It got us talking pretty easily. And I think that's the sole purpose of the director's intent here. He's straight out said it's a movie about class war, and it's pretty on the nose about that. If you want just a straight action movie, you're going to find better other places, but it fits the bill. It doesn't disappoint. If you want straight sci-fi, you're probably going to find movies that are hitting that a little better. Ask Brian, he'll give you some great recommendations. But it's there. It's not unbearable. There's some holes, but there's often holes in sci-fi movies if you dig deep enough. But yeah, at the end of the day, the acting was great. The direction, I think, was phenomenal. And I think this is one of many of his movies that kind of goes to show why he's still making movies and doing a good job. And I think more and more of his movies are getting more and more recognition as they go. Does it hold up? I guess if you're into this kind of movie, sure, it'll hold up. And I just think the writing is kind of the weakest point for me. And just, I'm just kind of bored with the topic. And it didn't wow me or spin it on its head or do anything that made it more memorable than any of the others that I've seen in the last 10 or so years. But yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful directed and shot movie. 73 out of 100. Eat my shorts, Daniel.
You did that on purpose.
It's marked. My scores did not change.
Show me the paper. Wow. Show me the paper.
I don't know how to share my screen, but yeah, I don't have it. I'm not archaic like Brian. I do it digitally on a running Google document. But mine's been 73 since we started, my boy.
I call bullshit. All right. Have either of you seen Parasite?
I have not.
And
I'm gonna watch it now that I know this is the director of it, because I've had so many people recommend Parasite to me, and of course, what is it? The first foreign film to win Best Picture, I believe, or foreign language.
Foreign language, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm definitely interested in checking that one out, and I think if it doesn't get put on one of our lists soon, I'll probably just check it out myself.
Fair.
If we make it to March and it hasn't been the Patreon pick, that might be knowing neither of you have seen it, I would have assumed one of you would. That might make my March Madness. I really like it. It is. I know you've said in the past, like, you like City of God, obviously, and that's all subtitles. It is completely subtitles. But completely worth the effort.
Yeah, I honestly feel like the Weinstein Company really limited what Bong Joon-ho could have done with this film. And so if I'm pretty sure the Weinstein Company wasn't involved in Parasite, so because that was probably after all that.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely want to check it out, see what he can do when he's allowed to, really stretch his legs.
I'll leave it there, but I definitely like Parasite more than this. All right. I saw Parasite in theaters and walked out. And my jaw was on the floor. Oh, I thought you meant you walked out like halfway through or something. I was like, well, that sucks.
No, I've heard nothing but good things about Parasite. It's just, again, one of those movies at time and place, just it got away from me and that was it, right?
Yeah.
Just miss it. All right, Patreon, where are you going to be?
And with that, we see Snowpiercer come in at a score of 69. That was a 72 from me, a 61 from Brian, and a 73 from Will, putting it just below Primer, but above Romeo and Juliet. Which, honestly, I'm pretty okay with this.
Perfect. I think this is the perfect spot on the list for it. I like it better than Romeo and Juliet.
Primer.
I'd much rather watch Primer, so this is perfect for me. I know you guys weren't as big a fan of Primer, so I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like, Primer has its charm. There's a lot of good things about Primer as well. I think as a whole, like, this movie is just more... It's just beautiful. It's just such a beautiful movie. It's just so well directed. There's such a higher level of filmmaking in this movie comparatively.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as story wise, I think Primer was more interesting story for me. So it's just like, you know,
Yeah.
it's always, there's such different movies. And that's why for me, I find it very important to have a genre ranking to kind of balance things a little bit between the different genres.
Or even a budgetary ranking. What was the budget on Snowpiercer? Because Primer was what, $2,000 or something ridiculously low?
Primer was like $7,000.
Yeah.
And Snowpiercer was $39 million.
Okay. Yeah. So definitely different brackets happening there.
Yeah.
But but yeah. And of course, you know, Primer is a little bit more my style. I'm neither here nor there on trains. I'm certainly yeah, I know it's not the damn point. Why do they have to put it on a fucking train? That's what drives me nuts. Do this movie someplace else. I don't know. It's just, the train, man. I think I do think it's the train that took like 10 points off my score.
If this movie had taken place between two cardboard boxes that took place in between time, Brian would be all fucking in.
Yeah. I mean, they made that time machine out of PVC and tarps, man. I was in there for it. They built this train on a cradle to film it on gimbals, and it pisses me off.
What about like a blimp or a boat? Would those be better for you?
I don't know. I got so hung up on the damn train, and every time it showed like the outside of the train, like rumbling over some icy rocks, or when they're going around the corner shooting like a handheld Uzi across the way, traveling 100 miles an hour through a snowstorm, shooting through glass, and they're like hitting each other like dead on. Like, come on, that was so dumb. Oh my God, I hated that.
If the bad guy had like a high-powered rifle and it had worked, maybe. But shooting the Uzis back and forth when you know bullets are half extinct and you're wasting them, you're just like, what are we doing? Like, and there's probably a deeper meaning to it than what I'm getting.
I think it's called endangered. Bullets were endangered.
What's the point of that scene? I didn't understand what they were trying to achieve with that, other than these two guys hate each other. That was it. They're willing to do whatever.
I think it was like my least favorite part of the movie was actually that bad guy. He was just like, wouldn't die, but he really didn't have a point. He was
exactly
just like,
with you 100% on him.
It could have been anybody that came out next to fight and kill off a couple people before they died. Why him? I just didn't really jive with it at all. And he just kept coming back. I was like, oh, just kill him, please.
The first shot when he takes the bullet, like as they're rounding the corner, again, I thought like the first shot is kind of cool. When they waste like entire rounds, it's like, okay, that's kind of unnecessary and wasteful. But like, I have a chance to end this right now. I understand that. I understand trying it. Coming back from the dead, though, really bothered me.
Yeah.
Like, he was clearly choked out, and then you're just like, it's like, no. You're dead. You're right. It could have been anybody else at that point.
Could have been anybody, yeah. Oh, well, whatever.
Well, that's our rating of Snowpiercer, but what's yours? Leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. We record this live over twitch.tv/The Monguli Show every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. So you can head over there and hit the follow button if you want to hang out with us live. Or if you made it this far in the video, you probably enjoyed it. Consider hitting like and subscribe so I see you in the next one. Will, before you disappear, I was watching a video that was kind of describing the book compared to this one. I have not read the French book.
Right.
It sounds like it was quite different. Like the same kind of idea. It's obviously class warfare. They get to the front, whatnot. But instead of in this one where they make it up to the front and they kill the train, basically they kill humanity, and it's just Curtis's character on a train that will never end. And it's just like he is left there by himself, essentially.
Yeah.
Like
his
kind of created his own cage.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. That's interesting.
There's more differences than that for sure, but that was like the big takeaway is like instead of killing the train, they kill humanity.
That's interesting. I can get behind that. I'm all for killing humanity, man. Like let nature take this world back. We are not worthy. I'll tell you that right now. If you want a grim ending, that graphic novel sounds like it for me.
There's also a lot more sex in it, like sex used, like it's a French comic, right? But like used as currency almost.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it is what it is.
Yeah, I could see why they would avoid that for a theatrical release movie.
Me too. Let's go. 12 Monkeys. Oh, you want to kill humanity?
Have you guys seen A Scanner Darkly?
No, that's the animated movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either. It's cell shaded.
Yeah, cell shaded. I haven't seen it either. I've heard.
I want to check it out.
Keanu Reeves, right?
Oh yeah, baby.
I'll throw it out there because I don't have any desire to kill humanity.
That's fair.
I think we can, improve, but I don't think we get improvement through destruction.
Well, it's one thing we haven't tried though is total destruction.
You guys are putting
We've
too
tried
much
multiple times.
You guys just assume that humanity's destroying things. Maybe we're just changing things. Maybe the world, maybe the universe created humans because it wanted plastic. We don't know.
The universe fucking hates turtles.
That's for sure, yeah.
Oh, goodness. I mean, sure. I just feel like animals that aren't humans have a very good way of finding balance. And humans do not have a good way of finding balance. They find a way of unbalancing everything. As far as historical evidence of...
I just think things... Sorry,
I just think humanity is still young yet, and we're learning. As a species, we have been here a negligible, almost zero amount of time, and we're learning, and we're going through our growing pains right now, and I like to be a little bit more optimistic about what's going on. I'm not stupid. We're fucking everything up from left to right, but we are becoming aware as a society of the damage that we're doing to our planet, to our home, to ourselves, to our fellow man. We're learning about that. We haven't yet done much about it, in my opinion, but it takes time. And we're just able to learn and grow faster than we're able to learn and change, if that makes any sense, right? We keep making better and better tools, but we don't know how to use them the right way. Nuclear energy, we use it as a bomb. It's like we can create these wonderful things, but we're too dumb to use them the right way.
Yeah, I think the people who... I think there's people who are creative to create, and there are people who are creative to destroy, and unfortunately the people who are creative to destroy seem to win more often.
Yeah, that's a power struggle, but hopefully we can learn how to put the right people into power and get the wrong ones out of power, and we can do better as we grow as a society so that we can avoid class warfare and find some sort of balance, because it's not socialism versus capitalism. I think there needs to be a balance of both of those things to work. right? One doesn't work without the other. And so, the biggest thing that we need to do as a society is really just find the kindness to take care of ourselves and others. And if we can start from there, then I think we can talk through the rest. Anyway, I got to get going, fellas.
We can talk through the rest. Dead silence.
I'm going to bounce out of here, guys. So, Dan, you have some late night talks with Bubba Hotep, don't you?
I do. We're going to be doing more Backseat Cinema. We missed last week because the 100th episode ran a little late. But yeah, we're just going to be coming on. We're just going to be chatting. I don't even know that we have a rock solid topic. We're just going to be hanging out for about an hour or so. So if you want to stick around for that, please do. Bubba Hotep, have you gone live yet? I haven't even checked.
I will absolutely be lurking. I've been lurking almost every time you guys have Backseat going. Sometimes it keeps me up because I find your guys' topics so interesting. So I'll be lurking there tonight. Will, what do you got going on these days?
Same old, same old. Tomorrow's Friends Friday. We're gonna try Big Walk, which just came out a couple weeks ago, I think, and it's a multiplayer game. But it's like I don't know a lot about it, but I feel like it's very like work together and talk through like puzzles, but like everybody kind of goes off on their own and comes back. And it kind of seems like a very chill game. So I'm kind of interested to see what that is. And then, we'll go from there.
Oh, Brian, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the raid.
Big raid
of one.
That's like, why did I bother?
It was probably you. You just raided yourself into my channel. I appreciate
probably me. Yeah, probably me.
Amazing.
All right, so I got to get out of here.
It's because everybody's watching on YouTube. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, I see.
Appreciate you all. You guys have been. Sorry,
a couple of people in YouTube. Yeah.
There's a couple people in YouTube, and YouTube people have been bumping up our numbers pretty significantly. I mean, they're not skyrocketing, but they're definitely moving in the right direction pretty steadily, and I really appreciate that. In fact, Bubba Hotep says he's not going to go live, it sounds like, so that more people will hopefully watch on YouTube. So thank you. Appreciate you all. You have a wonderful day. Brian, you're doing still The Last of Us this weekend, right?
Yeah, Last of Us on Sunday before the watch party. The watch party will be the last of the Terminator franchise, Dark Fate. I'm very much looking forward to that because I don't think either of you have seen that, have you?
I have not.
Okay, so that one's going to be cool. So be sure to come to the watch party for that one. Otherwise, it's The Last of Us before that. And then I think on Monday, I am going to try and do a stream in the morning, nice. But we'll see. We'll see.
Nice.
It'll probably just be me playing some games and chilling.
That's what my streams always are. So yeah, sounds good. All right, Brian, you have a great night, and we'll catch you next time, or I guess hopefully Sunday. Miss Hillary, I see what you're saying. Unfortunately, because we have the showing Saturday, you might not have been here for that. We have a house showing at like 1 on Saturday, and then I have no time to clean the house before then, and it would be rude of me to be playing on video game while the kids and wife are cleaning the house, getting ready for that. So most likely I can't stream Saturday morning. I will see if I can stream Sunday morning to make up for it, but I make absolutely no promises. It might be, our rating and then, Monday Night Horror or something. We'll see. But I appreciate you regardless. Bubba Hotep, you going to jump in here anytime soon?
I'm going to peace out as well. I'm looking forward to Dark Fate. Hopefully there's no trains, so Brian doesn't bitch about them.
Well, how do the Terminators work? Why aren't they explaining how Terminators work? I mean, I guess in fairness, he did bitch about that during the last one, so that we all did. We all did.
We did.
Can Will stick around for a second? Bubba is asking.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can.
Do you have 10 seconds?
Sure. I mean,
switch the background up.
Take a few minutes. Let's be honest.
Oh, we got a Bubba.
Look, I'm real Bubba Hotep. Oh, damn.
Nope, you're muted, sir.
There he is.
I'm real Bubba Hotep. Will, I've got a question for you. Something I wanted to talk about tonight, real quick. I was wondering, looking through the top 10 of 2026 and the top 10 highest grossing movies of 2025, blah, blah, blah. I came across an article where it said that the movie Obsession was the first original story that has been in the top 10 highest grossing movies in decades.
Right.
So I was talking with Dan about that. How do you feel? Do you think Hollywood is kind of dead for the original story, and it's more now remakes, revamps, redos, continuations of franchises, dead and ongoing, or adaptations of novels? Or is Hollywood capable of an original thought, or is it more or less indie movies that we're going to be getting?
Yeah. I think with streaming and the ease of releasing movies now, original stories are making a comeback. Even like this year alone, there's been how many like low budget movies that have hit big, mostly horror movies, mind you, but more than have been around for a long time. I feel like there's been like a surge of like original or, original content compared to the Hollywood remakes and revamps. So, I mean, I don't think Hollywood's ever going to die. I think creative people will always find a way to be seen. It's just if people are willing to watch it, right?
Yeah.
Hollywood is going to take the easiest route to make the most money possible. And it's just come to a head, I feel like, right? Like they know it doesn't matter, except for, I'll have an except for, but they know a superhero movie with a big name or a couple big names in it is going to make money. Except for Supergirl. That one kind of flopped, which I was thrilled by. I haven't seen it, so I have no stake in the game with whether it's good or not, or whether it deserved to bomb. But I've seen that happening more, and I'm hopeful that with Obsession and these more indie projects coming and making money, that Hollywood will start taking risks a little bit more. I just feel like they're not going to take risks because they don't need to, because a named project already has an audience behind it. Why not make Terminator Dark Fate instead of a whole new, sci-fi movie?
Right.
Without the name attached to it.
Right. I'm with you completely.
I'm going to push back a little bit. I don't think. I mean, I get that Obsession is not directly based off of a book or a comic or a video game or something. It's not exactly an original movie. Like, we've seen Monkey Paw Stories a billion times. I think the reason it got the hoopla was because of Indy Navarrette's performance, not because of the storyline. I think Backrooms was a way more original story, even though it was technically based off a video game. Like,
right.
It was something I've never seen before. Whereas I watched Obsession, and I enjoyed Obsession, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But like, you knew everything that was going to happen in that movie.
But to clarify a little bit, I guess I'm definitely more focused on like the rehashes. Like, if you're adapting a video game, that's fine. Like the Last of Us TV series, I'm totally down with that because it's a proven great story video game that hasn't been seen on screen in that format. That's totally okay. But rebooting RoboCop again and again, or rebooting Total Recall, like it's literally something that's been done on the big screen. That's more my issue. And the formulaic feel of the comic book movies is just getting old to me. And like, if it's safe. And I think Disney has felt that burn because nobody was watching their movies. Now they've cut back way on what they're producing and putting out. And lo and behold, I think the quality is coming back, right? So, I still hit and miss a little bit, but I think there's still.
Tell that to Moana.
Well, that's the problem. That's not the superhero movie. That's literally a remake of the cartoon, which is mostly CGI. That's the problem. But I mean, they've learned like they're cutting back on superhero movie releasing and producing those. So it's like, oh, yeah, they know Spider-Man's going to sell, but they actually took the time to make it quality as well. And I think they need to learn that lesson, and hopefully we'll stay within that. I don't know. We'll see.
Right.
It's tough.
But I don't even see, I see the formula of Hollywood going into television now because I mean, take Snowpiercer for example. Perfection right there. The series flopped more or less. I think I had 3, 4 seasons maybe because I started watching it and I said, nah, there's different characters. I've already seen this. This
Yeah.
is, I mean, other than a couple of new things, we have the Denzel Washington movie that I absolutely loved, Man on Fire, is now a series on Netflix, and I haven't
Right.
bothered watching it. You have
Yeah.
Reacher, that I mean, yeah, Reacher is phenomenal. You know, I love the television show Reacher, and I didn't really like the films very much, but you're getting that formula too, where Hollywood, okay, let's adapt this novel. Now we see television saying, okay, let's adapt this movie and bring it into
Right.
a different medium and extend it out and
I
everything
do
else.
think sometimes, and I do think sometimes, and in this case, Snowpiercer should have always been a TV series. I think some of these larger stories are right for television.
Mm.
You know, like I just think there's a lot of story to be told in that, and they can like give you better character arcs and give you better reveals, so it doesn't all feel all clumped in at the end and that kind of thing. And so I'm not mad that they made that Snowpiercer season or the TV show. I think it probably would have been better just being that. And there are like The Last of Us, I think is better to be a series than a movie. I think
Yes.
Resident Evil should be a TV series, not a movie that's redone over and over and
Well,
being done over again. So
I
I
mean,
think
kind of is
Yeah.
because there was a live action Resident Evil on Netflix, not just the animated, and
right.
10 episodes, and I loved it. I mean, I really did, about two sisters, and
Yeah,
I hope the other season comes out.
the issue is I think, oh, Hollywood's like, okay, big name, we'll put it into a movie, and then Hollywood is like, oh, it was good as a movie, people will watch it as a TV show. It's just too much of the same thing. Whereas it's
Right.
like, just choose a lane, just do one thing well, and just let it be for a while. Come
Right.
on.
I wonder how much, because most of what we said we liked about Snowpiercer was directly from the director's perspective. So I wonder
I
how much
agree.
the TV show suffered by not having a masterclass director
For
attached to
sure.
it. And I don't know who the director was. Maybe he's good. I'm not trying to rag on somebody I don't even know who it is.
No,
But
that's fair.
considering every commentary I've heard is like, it's okay.
Right.
I wonder how much that is just, it just didn't have the budget, didn't have the cast, didn't have the whatever behind it. I watched all 4 seasons of Snowpiercer. I didn't realize it went on for that long. That's
Yeah, I think,
crazy.
yeah, it was 4 seasons.
Okay.
I had seen, I think I skimmed through the first season and I had no interest in watching the second season, like at
Right.
all.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I was just wondering because going back and thinking, I mean, yeah, we have Brand New Day, and Brand New Day, you can say, is kind of an original concept because it's different than the story we got of Spider-Man. You know, they kind of started backwards with being a protege of Robert Downey Jr. And then he kind of lost everything and then started out where we saw the comic book characters start out, you know, where
Right.
he was by himself doing everything. So that was good. The Odyssey, yeah, a couple of different takes, but I've got to say horror movies lately, I'd say the last 2 years, 25 and 26, have really been standing out because they've been taking chances and they've been, yeah, it's regurgitating the same. You can only have so many different original concepts in horror movies.
7 different stories, right? And
Right.
just the way how you play them or tell them.
Right. But they're kind of taking more risks with
Well,
obsession.
that's the beauty, right, of horror movies in general is they're lower budget movies.
Mhm.
So you don't care about them as like a producer is like, oh, okay, it's a horror movie. It'll make about this much. We know it's not going to be this huge thing.
Right.
So the people who are making these movies are choosing to because they're passionate about them and they want to tell a story in some way and get that story told or whatever. But because there's not huge money on the line, like 200 million to make it, you
Mhm.
know, they can find ways like Primer to make it their own and do what they want. And
Right.
if it makes money, great. If it doesn't, oh, it was only, 30 million.
Right.
And that's why, that's like the only reason I'm even remotely excited for Clayface, which is of course a
Right.
DC character. It's a horror film and it's only got like a $40 million budget.
Yeah.
I want that movie to do well. It doesn't speak to me. I'm not a body horror person. I'm not a horror person really.
Sure.
But I want that movie to do well, and I probably will go and support it in theaters for that reason, because I would love Hollywood to get the idea of like, oh, like we don't need to spend $500 million to make a Batman movie. We can make a $50 million Batman movie, and then if we're only spending $50 million only, we can take risks with it. Like we don't have to follow the exact same formula. We can try something new. But when they're going to spend $300 million on Spider-Man, they need it to make $2 billion. Now, I love the new Spider-Man movie, and I don't have your fatigue, but I understand what you're saying for sure.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's definitely a world where we can start making riskier comic book superhero adaptions that are significantly more interesting than, you know, some of the stuff we've gotten recently.
Right.
I mean, at the end
will
of the
they
day,
take that from it? I don't know. Maybe they'll just make that Clayface 2 $200 million. You're like, look, it works.
At the end of the day, there's going to be artists that are going to make creative things and new things. And I think, aside from AI, technology is allowing people to be viewed more easily, more readily available. So in theory, that will mean more creative projects, more original projects will get out there and be seen and make money. And that can maybe start a snowball.
Right.
And
I
unless everything just goes straight to AI and I just turn my brain off and turn the TV off and never touch anything in this world ever again because I hate it.
I see the formula changing, as in look at Markiplier with Iron Lung.
Yeah.
Look at I can't remember the name of the other horror game where it's almost like Backrooms or whatever, where he was stuck in the train station and he had to watch for different things.
Exit 8.
Yes, Exit 8. You know, based on a video game. That wasn't a big budget. I mean, there was an old I call it old. It came out in January. It was an indie movie called The Plague. Very, very little fanfare. It didn't get very much promotion, and it's more or less about a bunch of teenage boys at a swim camp, more or less, and they start playing the cooties game. Stay away from this person because they have cooties,
Right.
and they all start, you know, running from them and stuff like that. And then a kid that really wasn't playing and he didn't like the way the kid was treated, they started turning on him, saying, oh, he has cooties now, and the way that he acts and the way he tries to be accepted. Loved it. I absolutely loved it. It did nothing. Completely flat. I mean, even
Give me the name again.
was great. It's called The Plague.
Okay.
But I'm very, very good movie, completely independent, you know, and you go across and it doesn't get any fanfare. And I'm hoping that we see the YouTube formula come through, you know, where mainstream news isn't the central hub of everything. More independent newscasters are coming forth, where people would rather watch YouTube videos of little known people that are pouring their heart and soul into something, and YouTube stars or streamers, content creators are getting their name out there and they're starting to make actual good movies, you know. And I was wondering about, you know, do you think Hollywood needs to hire these people on and give them a voice for Hollywood to be able to come back? Or do you think that Hollywood is just going to regurgitate the same, I can make $300 million because I can afford to make these movies, where these people can only afford to focus on the story of it?
I think some people make it through and make it into Hollywood, you know, like there's I mean, Dan's main man there, Kevin Smith, right?
Sam Raimi. Oh, Kevin.
He wasn't same. Sam Raimi's the same, right? Like they both started as like these little indie projects that blossomed and made it through the hardships of, you know, being a nobody and just starting from scratch and hope and prayer, but their talent saw them through. That's always going to happen. It's just a matter of how much of the Hollywood regurgitation is going to keep up and what balance is struck there. And I'm hopeful with these kind of more indie projects that we've kind of seen pop up that will continue. That trend will keep going. But I mean, time will tell. There's always going to be everything, there's just so much content being made. And that's the other thing. There's just no time to watch it all, see it all, be a part of it all. So Hollywood's going to spend a big amount of money to ensure you're watching the stuff they want you to watch.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to you to filter through and watch the stuff you want to watch.
Right.
And it's there. And that's the thing. That's the beauty of the technology. Again, it's there if you want to find it. It can just be hard to find sometimes. And if you really want to see it on the big screen, you might be shit out of luck.
Oh yeah, trust me. I know. I've been looking for a couple I still can't see anywhere on big screen.
Yeah. I think, oh man, necessity necessity breeds invention. Invention. So like when you've got a smaller budget, it kind of forces you to be more creative and come up with something. And like that's like Kevin Smith made Clerks on $27,000. The guy who made Primer made it on $7,000.
Exactly.
Like,
isn't there like a $200 budget movie that just took off?
I think no idea. That's awfully low, but $200 wouldn't cover a camera.
Yeah, because I think it was like all animated crap, but Obsession was like the highest.
Obsession was like 750. Like it was
right, but it was the biggest money making movie compared to like cost to profit.
Right.
Until this like $200 movie came out just recently. I don't even know what it is, but
Burnsy's saying it's a China animated one. I don't.
Yeah.
I know nothing about it.
Surprised me. There is a director. I can't remember the name of the movie. He actually got sponsored by Apple and shot the movie all on the new iPhone that came out, and he just got and it blew up. I can't remember the name of the movie, but
there's been a couple movies now that have been shot entirely on iPhones.
Yeah, wasn't Bone Temple?
I think
Bone Temple might have been one of them. I think the Florida project was.
Yep.
Yeah.
I kind of want. There was one.
Oh, not Bone Temple, but the 28 years later.
They used a lot of. I don't think it was iPhone. They used a lot of like the Super 8, the handheld cameras, and gave it the shaky feel and gave it that look because they couldn't empty out the area that they needed to empty out for too long to do all of the setup for the cameras. So they had to use just real fast and furious cameras.
Yeah. That's cool.
But
I mean, that's cool.
I was going to ask where you thought, because I know Will, we're talking about how beautiful the movie looked and how it had a deeper message. And I caught Dan's on Snowpiercer, and I was wondering right off the bat where that was compared to the 28 Laters, especially Bone Temple and 28 Years Later. And I looked when you guys brought it up, right on par. That's almost the exact same thing, like 69, 72, 78 in the 28 Years franchise. So I was wondering, you guys are actually staying like right across, because you guys thought that still all of that they had a deeper meaning, that they were shot wonderfully, beautifully made, but it was something that you couldn't really go and revisit, and something you wanted to watch over and over and over.
I mean, I mean, a guilty pleasure a little bit, but 28 Days Later, I could rewatch a lot. But it's more the genre I like too, compared to sci-fi, like the zombie-ish apocalyptic world.
Like I said, I agree with Will more than I agree with Brian or Dan when it comes to movies.
It's a matter of taste, but as far as like directing, I think those are both phenomenal directors.
Oh yeah,
on both those movies, and that goes a long way for sure for me. Again, me having some experience more on stage than screen, but I think about movies somewhat differently than a lot of people sometimes. I think just because I really enjoy looking at what goes on behind the scenes a little as well, not just what I'm seeing on the screen. But
well, that's why I wanted to get like your take specifically on if you thought Hollywood had an original thought left in its head or not, because I know that you can look at an independent movie. I mean, I'm sure you've had interactions with writers, you know, with their script, with things that people that were very, very passionate about a project.
Oh,
and,
yeah. Good and bad.
and you could just feel that passion just kind of oozing into the project itself, you know. And
I'm biased that way too, which I've said right numerous times. Like indie projects, I have a soft spot for because I've created indie theater for a long time, right? And like I know I can feel the passion because I've experienced it in the exact same way when you're doing everything in your power to get this product. And yeah, it's rough around the edges, but by golly, we made it. You know, it's like you can just feel that sometimes in a movie, and I just it draws me to it for better or worse sometimes. But yeah.
So are you hopeful? I mean, are you glad to see that indie projects are getting more notice because people are getting tired of just that copy and paste formula of Hollywood? Are you glad to see some soul coming back into the industry?
I don't know if people are getting tired of it or fed up with it. I know I have been for a long time, and Dan knows I have been for a long time. I constantly go back to it. But, you know, as long as there's space for that, I'm happy. And so, yeah, seeing a little bit of this uptick in the indie stuff, definitely hopeful. If they can carve out a sustainable spot, that would be great. Hollywood can still have their big blockbusters, blah, blah, blah. That's great. That's fine. Some movies are just meant on the big screen and are popcorn movies for sure. And they have their place, but I just feel like that's overtaken everything. So I'm hoping we can kind of chip back at it and get a little bit of a balance in there. I don't know.
I think that's a streaming issue as much as it's a Hollywood issue, where the average person will look at, let's say, a rom-com on the big screen and be like, well, do I really want to spend $40, $50, $60 to go watch, you know, Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds? I can watch that on my small screen for the exact same price. Whereas if you've got all of the Avengers fighting whatever, you go, oh, that's a spectacle. I kind of want to see that on the big screen. So like, it's kind of been audience motivated more so than Hollywood motivated in that regard. But I don't disagree. I do wish there were more big budget other movies being made, or even more interesting other movies being made. Like, I don't want everything to be at the theater to only be spectacle.
For sure.
But also, like, that's the kind of stuff that puts butts in seats. So
I agree. And people, obviously, that's the saying, you vote with your wallet, or it takes two to tango, right? Like, Hollywood wouldn't be pushing this unless people were buying it, right? Like, it does go hand in hand. And I do think with cost of living, cost of theater, going to the theater is so much more expensive now than it used to be.
Oh yeah,
you're going to pick and choose something that you think you're going to enjoy on the big screen.
Right.
Your avatars, your end games, your whatevers. Whereas, you know, things that don't do well in the theater are going to be on streaming in a month. So you can wait a month and you already have that subscription in your budget. You're going to just watch it there. So yeah, there's that's again a con to the technology, right? The pro is a lot more can be seen by these little independent projects, but a con is less people are going to go to theaters because of it. So there's always this juggling act that's going to always be going on, right?
And I think Hollywood is, to some extent, shot themselves in the foot with that a little bit as well. Not only making the streaming services, but also like, oh, the movie didn't do well. Okay, it'll be streaming in 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Like the turnaround is so small. Like when we were younger, it would take like a literal year for a movie to come out on VHS, and you'd be like, even if you saw it and liked it, you'd be like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. I'm going to rent it. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to do whatever. Whereas now it's like, okay, do I want to watch Masters of the Universe for $40? It's probably going to be on Prime in 2 weeks. I'll just wait 2 weeks. Whereas if they were like, no, we're going to have the self-restraint. We're going to wait a year before we put it on digital. Right. Well, now it's a decision. Like, oh, am I going to watch it now, or am I going to wait a full year before I go and check it out? And sure, the hype might die down a little bit, but then you can re-hype it when it comes out on digital, as opposed to just being guaranteed.
If you're a big enough director, big enough name, you can force your movie to stay in theaters longer.
Yeah.
It's part of the contractual deal you're making with these companies. It's like, it's just so crazy all the ins and outs. Like it's unbelievable.
Right.
So.
You can make a string of movie theaters, get your stamp of approval, and just say, hey, we're in an elite club and we stamp this certified. What's
Are you talking
Infinity
Vision? Infinity Vision. Yeah.
Infinity Vision? Yeah. What
crazy
a crap.
Yeah, give us a little bit of money and we'll hype you up because you're elite enough to have Infinity Vision.
Yeah.
But
well, yeah.
You
Dan,
met our standards.
The
what do
gimmicks. The
you-
gimmicks.
what do you think about it? Because I know Will, just knowing Will, I know his he goes more towards independent. You know, he doesn't like the comic book. He doesn't like a lot of the
Yeah, I do like
overdone
comic books.
stuff.
I'm just
Well,
done
no,
with
I
stuff.
mean, yeah, how much much saturation there is. If it's a big box office hit, it's going to be comic book based. That's the way it's been since like 2015. But Dan, I know you're kind of a mixed bag because you like really heavy, rich dialogue, and you know, you like the conversation, and you do like a lot of independent, but you also like the comic. And I mean, you're there for the comic book, and you're there for Avatar and just the big spectacle Hollywood, just summer blockbusters. So do you like that now you're getting more of a mix, or would you rather see more of one, you know, like working on the storyline of a blockbuster or working on the quality and performance of an independent?
I miss video stores. And I recognize that we've got this. That sounds like a weird segue, but I'm going to get somewhere. I realize that you've got Netflix and it's got all these different things, but Netflix will very much push whatever they think is gonna make the money, right? It's like they'll push either the classics or the new biggest thing or whatever it's going to be. When you walked into an old video store, they'd kind of just have everything, and you could find these like hidden gems that you'd never heard of, or maybe you see the poster or the box art and you skip it this time, but your third, fourth, fifth time seeing it, you're like, you know what, that jumps out at me every time. I'm going to give this weird movie I've never heard of a try, and that's how you find something that you're going to absolutely adore. I don't feel like I've got that at the moment. Like I would love to discover an independent movie that I've never heard of, and that I can come on here and be like, holy crap, Bubba, I just watched this thing you've never heard of. It's amazing. You definitely have to go check it out. I couldn't tell you the last time I've done that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably
the algorithm tells you what to watch.
Yeah.
Well, to some extent, yeah. Like, and
100%.
that's where
100%.
that's where you get something like, well, okay, so the other side, I'm not answering your question. I'm going in different directions. The other thing is, to some extent, because there's so many options, because there's so many streaming services, not everybody has the same streaming services. You've also lost the water cooler movie, where you can go to work and be like, holy crap, I watched this on the weekend. It's so good. You have to check this out. And people be like, oh, okay, I'll check that out at my local store or whatever. But you might be like, oh, wow, I really liked Silo. And you'd be like, oh, Silo, what's that? It's like, oh, it's on Apple. Oh, I don't have Apple. And then it's just a no start. It's a
Right.
non-starter. I thoroughly enjoy the big blockbusters. I like going to the big theaters. I like seeing them on the big screen. I really like taking my kids. I have a pretty good taste on what my daughters are going to enjoy. So in that sense, like, yeah, Avatars, Spider-Mans, all that stuff, like, I'm not even remotely sick of the MCU. I know there's been duds. There's definitely been ones that are worse than others. But this is my childhood imagination on the big screen. And for the most part, they're doing it well enough that I'm entertained. There have been some duds, don't get me wrong. I don't know where to find the independent movies. Like, if there was, like, there's the Criterion collection where it's very curated to like classics. If there was something like that for, like, not independent in the sense of like $20 budgets, but like, you know, like the $10,000 to $150,000 range. I realize that's quite a range. That would be excellent. Like, I would love to check that out. I feel like that's something we had a lot of in the 90s, whether it's, you know, Quentin Tarantino, Kevin Smith, naming individual films like Suicide King, stuff like that. Like, just these films where it's just like, you know, a couple of buddies got together and made a film in the middle of the night, you know, hanging out and talking while driving down the street. That's amazing. Like, I love that kind of stuff, because generally they have to be, and the reason I like dialogue-driven movies is, like, that's all they've got. They don't have the budget for anything more than that, so that's what they have to work with. So they have to nail it, because otherwise it's not going to get made in the first place. claustrophobic movies I really enjoy, again, for that exact reason. Like, if you've ever heard of the movie Drive with
Tom Hardy.
Thank you, Tom Hardy.
Mhm.
It's literally just him driving from one city in England to another throughout the course of a night and talking to his wife on the phone, talking to his lover, I guess, on the phone, talking to his son on the phone. Like, but it carries the movie and it's fascinating. Like, it's so interesting. And all it is Tom Hardy driving. And I love watching those because not only is it a fascinating movie, but there's also that, like, how did they make this?
Mhm.
And even if you go back to classics, like watching like Ben-Hur, my imagination's going like, how did they make this? But anything made in the last decade, I'm like, oh, CG. Like, how did they make the Hulk? Oh, they CG'd him. Like, there's no question in my brain. There's no imagination there. It's just, this is what they did. And that's why, again, bringing it back, like, the reason I fell in love with Jurassic Park when I was 12, how did they do this? How did they make this so professionally?
Dinosaurs come to life.
Right.
Like,
and to the point where they still look real.
They still look better than most CG nowadays.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like the
great.
Tyrannosaurus Rex scene when he's in the storm, it might as well be a real Tyrannosaurus. Like, it looks so good.
Jurassic Park dinosaurs looked better than the end of Oak Street. They just did, and it just came out last week, something like that. So just look, when was it? 90? When did it come out? 94? Jurassic Park
93.
93.
So you're looking at 30 years difference, and it still looks so much better.
Yeah.
It's the practical effects, right? Always comes back to practical.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Dan, you touched on like this mystique of unknowing how they could do this. It kind of just reminded me of a movie I think you talked about that you've enjoyed is like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That director, Michel Gondry, is phenomenal for like camera tricks and filming everything on like on site and not using CG and all that. Like, I will watch his movies because they just intrigue me. His vision and the way he directs. There's a terrible movie called Be Kind, Rewind with Jack Black.
Oh, sheesh. Yeah.
Michel Gondry directed that. It's not a great movie, but there's still some like really cool direction things and editing tricks that he does in it. I'm just like, this is so cool. I'll just watch him no matter what. Now, have I seen a movie of his go to theaters any time in the last 10 years? Nope. Which is unfortunate, right? But there are those gems that kind of pop through once in a while. I just feel like they don't get the same presence as they once did anymore. And you're right, it's harder to find these like interesting takes nowadays unless you get so big that you go mainstream Hollywood in big name movies.
Yeah, and 2 or 3. Like, if you look at Zach Krieger, with Barbarian, that hit. And I mean, everything in the last year has just been Zach Krieger.
Right.
There was a battle. There was a bidding war for weapons. Because Barbarian was so good, and you have those unicorns like Zach Krieger that can write and direct and helps compose. And I mean, just a triple threat like that. But it's so few and far between, and not everybody gets that. But I think a lot of the big problems are the streaming services, because they do have what Dan was talking about, like independent passion projects, like Amazon, Tubi, stuff like that, where but they get so many really crappy movies. It's hard to weed through all of them that are just shot so poorly and that are just terrible, terrible movies. It's very hard to find that little kernel of gold in a mountain of crap.
Yeah, it can get tiresome going through that. But it's just like Netflix when it started, right? You could find all these really random, because they were just buying any cheap product to have content, because they just didn't have content.
Right.
Now they're creating their own content. They can do whatever they want. They have whatever they want. They push whatever they want.
Right.
But like those smaller ones like Tubi and stuff are still just grasping on trying to get any content they can to, prove that they're a valid place to go for content. So
Right.
yeah,
And
it's just interesting.
and they do have some good original shows. Tubi is starting to come up with some good original content, and they have great old films, and they do have very good independent films. But then again, I mean, for every 20 movies you watch, you may see a movie that's like, well, I'm glad I watched that. You know, most of the ones you can't even really, if I see something that is shot and it looks like it's shot on a Nokia phone from 20 years ago, I've got to shut it off. I can't. The film quality, it has to be at least something. You know, I mean, you could give me an award-winning performance and wonderful dialogue, but if it looks bad, I just can't get into it.
I don't know if I 100% agree with that. I mean, obviously that's your opinion. I don't have to agree with it, but just like for me, like I love 28 Days Later, but like rewatching it is like, this doesn't look great. Like it's the cinematography is good, but the camera is bad.
Yeah, but purposely bad.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
you say it all you want, but it's still bad.
No, it is. I mean, it was a choice. He had a choice.
I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm just saying, like, Christopher Nolan having the sound issues he had during Tenet is apparently a choice. Doesn't mean I like it.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Well, I mean, you have some accidents that are good, like the black and white remembering scenes in American History X because of trying to save some money. And then you have 28 Days Later where they're in a rush, so they're trying to get this and it looks good. And then you have movies that looks like you maxed out your credit cards, you asked your grandmother for some money, you're flipping over couch cushions trying to find the last 47 cents you need to be able to buy this camera that's subpar. You know, that it's those kind of films that I just cannot get into. You know,
I mean, it's a balance,
for
right?
me. Like,
yeah, it's a balance.
Like you basically just described Primer, and I found that fairly interesting because the premise was there.
Yeah,
the premise
is good. Story was great, hard to watch. You know, that's just that's something that I would have shut off if my buddies didn't say it was a good film.
Yeah,
you know,
that's fair. For me, Primer, I had more issues with the sound on that one.
That's exactly what I was just about to say.
Yeah. But again,
I feel like the video quality I could have gotten past, but the sound was rough in some areas. Like the fountain scene, I'm just like, just do it again. Like, what are you doing?
But you can't afford
film
to do
it somewhere else. God, come on, guys.
Yeah, why does it have to be here? Nothing about this requires a fountain.
You're supposed to write the script in pencil so you can erase and say, okay, we're not in front of a fountain now. We're in a library. You know, we're in some place where someone's quiet. I completely get that.
There's one thing that I want to bounce off of the conversation we've been having so far, and the conversation in chat as well, is we've been talking a lot about like blockbusters versus passion projects. I don't necessarily believe that some of the people making blockbusters don't have an incredible amount of passion for what they're doing.
No, I don't mean to come across that way either.
Right.
I just feel like the producers of, you know, the money men behind the scenes, I don't feel have the passion.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the people making it, I feel like they're still.
I believe everybody involved with a film, whether it's a summer blockbuster or an independent, they have vision and they want to see their vision manifest, you know, on the screen. They want to see what they feel so much for. But then again, there's some like San Andreas with The Rock.
There's paycheck movies for sure. I'm just saying it's not exclusively you're either a blockbuster or you're a passion project. I think
100%.
Like The Odyssey, I don't think Christopher Nolan does what he does with that film without having a passion for filmmaking.
Oh yeah, exactly. And that's where the big, like Interstellar, you know, I mean, that was something to behold on the screen. Absolutely blockbuster, and it was beautiful. 100%. Project Hail Mary, I still agree. But there are some things where there's like Waiting for Godot, and then there's like Borat. You know what I mean? It's between those two type thing.
Interesting. Okay.
I mean, I'd say Borat was pretty passion project too, but in a very different way.
Yeah, in a different way. Absolutely in a different way. But yes, definitely, it was original. It was definitely original. You have to admit that.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, long story short, because I should be moving on down the dusty trail. I'm hopeful, Bubba.
Good. That
But,
glimmer of hope with Cleaning
yeah,
Agent. I'm
I
glad
think
to hear.
there's always going to be an ebb and flow. It's like a pendulum, right? It's always moving. It's always going to be like, this is going to be the in thing. That's what people are going to spend their money on. Then it's going to come back around, and it'll always be in indefinite motion.
Ask him again if he's hopeful next week after we watch Terminator 7.
I mean, there's some things I've given up on, obviously.
Our rating, it sounds like.
I've got to tell you, and I mean, if you look, the movies that I've picked out, other than Snowpiercer, and that's primarily because Will said he didn't watch it. I talked about Highlander, that's at the bottom. I talked about Evil Dead, that's at the bottom. I looked at No Escape, that is the bottom.
Hey,
right
every movie I picked, Dan hates too. So
Yeah.
I'm with you, Bubba.
In fairness, I think I'm the only one that hated Evil Dead. I think I was alone on that ship.
You were, yeah, you were.
Yeah. I mean, but I've got to say, I don't have the passion that Brian does with Dark Fate. And I mean, I'm a lot of people. I really like Dark Fate. Did we watch the same movie? Did we? So, I mean, I can't say anything.
Sometimes I think it's like, you know what? We just watched 4 bad Terminator movies. This one's not horrible, so it's got to be okay.
I honestly wonder if Salvation was like that. Like after 3, Salvation felt really good. But would have I enjoyed it if I watched Salvation after, Indiana Jones? I don't know, something like I actually enjoyed.
Yeah, sure.
It's hard to say, but after Terminator 3, great film.
With Salvation, I didn't like Salvation when I first saw it. Didn't like it at all. Whenever I was watching it with the watch along, I enjoyed it. I have to say, I didn't give it a fair shake when I first watched it. I think because of all that stuff with Christian Bale and the yelling and the bad publicity it got, and then being able to razz on it, with buddies just having fun, kind of the same reason I picked No Fate. I mean, watching that myself, I wouldn't have watched that again. I've seen it enough, but being able to pick on it and point the things out and be like, what the heck is that? That just made it fun.
Yeah. Are you talking Genesis? We haven't seen Dark Fate yet.
No.
Salvation. Oh, okay. You said Dark Fate a second ago. That's all.
Oh, Salvation. I'm sorry.
I'll agree. I didn't enjoy Salvation at all the first time that I watched. I don't remember anything about it other than the bad Arnold. And then watching this time, I didn't even think the Arnold was that bad. Like I had myself buffed up for it being atrocious, and I'm like,
really,
looks okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I can't wait till I hear next week's with Dark Fate, because I want to find out if I missed everything. I've seen the movie twice, so I know that was the title of the movie. I'm not watching something different. But I've heard people that was a good film.
Yeah, and you haven't watched it yet?
I've never seen Dark Fate. I saw maybe like 3 minutes or something. I walked in on other people watching it, and I was like, I'd rather actually see it, and I just never did.
Yeah, I saw it when I came out, and when it came out, and then a couple of years ago, it came on streaming, and I'm like, well, maybe I'll check this again because I'm watching the Terminators periodically, so I'll give this another shot. And at the end, I was like, no, still sucked. Didn't like it.
One of the things that I often wonder about our rating is, are we doing ourselves a disservice by watching an entire franchise back to back to back to back to back? Or is it better because you might pick up on certain things that you wouldn't have otherwise? Like in Salvation, you see Marcus teach Kyle Reese a couple of things that, because we just watched Terminator 1, I was like, oh, he actually does that. That's kind of cool.
Right.
But if I'd watched Salvation, 3 years apart, I definitely wouldn't have.
Right.
But maybe Genesis would have felt a little more original if we hadn't just watched 5 Terminators leading up to it. I sincerely doubt it, but you know what I'm saying.
Well, I know exactly what you're saying, specifically because of Insidious, because of Out of the Further that I just did, because it's when I watched the newest one, it made me, for the first time, I've always said, I've said with a few movies, I need to go back and watch the franchise, and I never do. This one, the very first thing I did when I got home was I started the franchise over, because watching that movie, I'm like, I need to watch the franchise. Do I really love it as much as I remember loving it? And spoiler, I love that franchise as much as I did. But I've never watched it. I've never binged all
Back
of
to
them.
back,
And
right.
yeah, in the span of like 24 hours.
Mhm.
And they did so good with, I mean, I picked up on little nuances that I didn't pick up, you know, when they were 2 years apart, 3 years apart, stuff like that, where I'm like, wow, they did show this. They did make a connection. They did come back full circle. And I never got that before. So I get exactly what you're saying about seeing them, you know, in progression, one right after the other.
Yeah. Now, out of curiosity, you've said this a couple of times, and I've never quite got exactly what you're trying to say. You watched the newest Insidious,
Mhm.
and they're like, man, I have to go back and rewatch the franchise
Mhm.
because you loved the new Insidious so much, or
Mhm.
because you disliked it so much that it made you wonder if you enjoyed the originals as much as you actually did.
Not watching out of the further, it made me straight out say, if are the rest of the movies in the franchise like this? Am I remembering incorrectly? Because I'm not getting into this movie at all. You know,
And did rewatching the franchise grow your appreciation for Into the Further?
no,
Okay.
no,
Fair enough.
it grew my appreciation for the first
The other ones.
6 of them. Yeah,
Fair
it
enough.
grew my
Fair enough.
appreciation for all the other ones, and it just kind of solidified that Out of the Further is something that should not have been done or done completely differently.
Yeah, I think it's a tricky balance with our rating, because I do think us watching them back to back is the way, because they're a franchise, they're a continuation of the premise or the story or the universe or whatever it is. But I also, as you know, I'm a big advocate of movies being able to stand alone.
Mhm.
And so you can kind of see where some of these franchises hit and miss in both of those elements. It can become a slog when there's 5 or more in the franchise, and you're just like,
Right.
Yeah.
holy moly.
I do think the Patreon pick
Breaks it up a little.
has been really nice for breaking up those large franchises.
Yeah, I agree.
Kind of giving us a bit of a palate cleanser here and there. Because I think, like, I don't know exactly, like with Terminator, like we could have theoretically had 2 different Patreon picks in between the Terminator movies. I think we did actually.
We have for sure.
Yeah,
we had
right.
So
So, like,
Escape and Snowpiercer.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it does kind of break it up a little bit, as opposed to just like continuously like 6 episodes in a row of Terminator, which,
I mean,
like,
they're
could get boring
also,
for us.
They're also sci-fi movies, but whatever.
Sure, to an extent.
Yeah.
It not only breaks it up for us, but then also if the audience, like if somebody's just like, man, I effing hate the Terminator movies,
Mhm.
I'm going to just zone out for the next month and a half, we probably just lost that audience member. But if they're like, oh, well, okay, they're going to talk about something else for a week, let's tune in, let's hang out.
Right.
So I think that does help. I think it is a benefit.
I agree. Thank you, Patreon. Thank you, everybody who's on the Patreon.
I agree. You're welcome. I've been there from day one, and I'll always stay there because I support my buddies. But I agree with Will for the most part that a movie really should be standalone. But there are some instances, again, I take Insidious. There are some instances where a continuation, and especially with Insidious, 5 movies into it. So I think it was 5 movies into it. It was still going back to the first movie for closure, for a certain type of closure, to where 3 and 4 could have been standalone. They related a little bit, but it had some things that further elaborated on the story of the first and the second. And that's kind of a unicorn. You know, most of the time with franchises, the third one, the fourth one, the story just gets really weak. It's still, they're not adding anything fresh or anything new, and they couldn't stand on their own. With Insidious, the movies, other than the first one, the second one, and the 5th one, because that is pretty much a trilogy of one family. You know, the 3rd one and the 4th one could have really stood on their own, but they also added to the story of the family, which just it just made it nice. I liked it.
I think as far as movies staying on their own, I agree with that to some extent, and I disagree with it to some extent. For instance, Empire Strikes Back, I think, is a phenomenal movie, but I don't necessarily believe that it's a phenomenal one-off. I feel like you kind of need New Hope and to some extent Return of the Jedi to get the full breadth of that story.
Yeah.
But that's fine because it's a trilogy. I'm okay with that.
Right.
What I don't like is, let's stay in Star Wars land, The Mandalorian and Grogu, where you not only need to watch The Mandalorian, the show, to understand who these characters are, but then beyond that, like, you need to have a deep love of Clone Wars and other aspects of Star Wars to have a clue. Like, I don't know if either of you have seen that movie. The main villains, they literally don't even name them in the movie. They're just the twins. If you want to know their names, you have to watch other things to get that from them. And I've had this conversation with my brother-in-law where he's like, oh, it's amazing. You just don't know Star Wars well enough. I'm like, then that's bad. Like, if I have to watch the movie before it, sure, that's totally fine. I get that. But if I have to watch 3 television shows and know the comics and something else for it to even make sense, it's not even coherent without that knowledge.
Yeah.
That's a poorly structured film.
Right. And that's the reason that I told you, asked if I was going to review that film. And I said, no, I wouldn't, because I hadn't seen the shows. I'm not a huge fan of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
And I didn't think I could give it a proper review, you know, because of that.
Right.
I made like a 45-minute rant on it, and I couldn't edit it down to something that I actually wanted to put out. So I'm like, screw it. So I did like the out of the theater reaction, and then I was like, I don't want to edit 45 minutes, and I can't make, like, I want my review to be like 15 minutes. I'm like, I don't want to take 30 minutes out of this. This is nonsense.
Right.
Legit. All right, for reals, gents, it's been a pleasure, but I'm gonna bounce.
Thank you, sir. I might join the big walk with you. I asked you I asked you a couple of times if you had it or if there was a demo, because Pam was telling me about it.
There's not a demo. I'm just gonna straight up grab it. I think Burns is gonna play. If you want to jump in, I think it's 4 players, so I'm sure we'll find another, or the 3 of us can hammer it out. We'll see.
Yeah, and if it's just talking, maybe we can get Panda. She doesn't need to use her wrist. You never know.
We'll see.
All right. Thank you for hanging around, Will. I appreciate you greatly.
Appreciate you guys. Have a good night.
Cheers, bud.
Bye.
The same happens in Marvel now. Anyone wanting to watch Doomsday has 50 hours of homework to do. You're not wrong. In fact, you're 100% right. Without having seen the movie, I don't know how important it is to know who Gambit is, or if it'll explain enough that you're just like, oh, it's the X-Men. Okay, moving on. Like, I don't know if it'll have intricacies of those characters, or if it'll just be, these are the X-Men, they're here for a reason.
I think with Marvel, the storyline doesn't get affected. I mean, there are some arcs that don't really stay true to the comics and everything. Sure. But I think in order to get most of the Easter eggs and most of the kind of back end jokes and a little bit of the humor, like with Gambit, you know, you have to know that Channing Tatum has been thrown around as a meme for being Gambit for so long, and then all of a sudden there he is, you know, on the screen. If you're going to catch that, so I kind of agree with you both. There's taking a little bit out, but I don't think it's significant.
There is definitely moments in Deadpool versus Wolverine, or Deadpool and Wolverine, where I was the only person in the theater laughing because I had a deeper knowledge of like behind the scenes stuff and whatnot.
Right, like with Human Torch and Captain America.
Well, I mean,
it's going to be.
I want to say it was more like the Gambit scenes. I think the Human Torch, like, yes, you're right, but I think the vast majority of the audience got that. But there's a couple of like one-liners where they made little jabs at stuff that was like a little bit deeper knowledge, and I was like, oh, I got that, but I do explain it to my wife afterwards.
Right.
I don't know that, again, having not seen it, I don't know that Doomsday is going to do that specifically, or if it'll just be like, here's Gambit. You're like Marvel is pretty decent at, you'll know the characters, but you don't necessarily need to like remember something that happened in Thor: The Dark World to understand the next Thor movie. You just know, oh, that's Thor. Okay.
Right.
Like they don't require, it's good, it's better, you'll get more out of it maybe, but I don't feel like you'll be completely lost if you watched Thor 1 but not 2 to watch 3.
Well, that was almost like with Supergirl too, because there were a lot of people, the Woman of Tomorrow, you know, where they read that comic or the graphic novel or whatever, and it stayed really close to the storyline. From what I heard, it was closer than most of the storyline, like drinking on the Red Planet and, you know, like this and that, and the angst that she was feeling and all of that stuff, you know, where they seemed to like the movie a little bit better. But then you had people like me who, up until you mentioned Woman of Tomorrow, I didn't even know there was a comic book named, I didn't know anything about Supergirl.
Yeah.
And I went into it and I was just thinking, this is the role model for young girls now, and it's the bedhead constantly, and the what do they call it, blase faire or something like that attitude. The just I don't care, c'est la vie attitude, and all of that stuff. I just wasn't into it. Knowing Lobo the way I knew Lobo and seeing Lobo on the screen, I wasn't into it, so I didn't appreciate it. So I kind of get what you're saying about that.
So one, I'm rereading the comic. I read it once and then I'm going through it again. I don't love the comic book as much as most people do, to be honest. But as far as the film adaptation goes, it was like they got all the set pieces right, but the point's wrong. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like, she goes to red planets to drink. Cool. But like, you're missing the backstory part.
Right.
Also, I find, for whatever reason, and I'm not ragging on you, this is something I've heard a lot over the last couple of months. Like, when Supergirl drinks, everybody goes, oh, and this is a role model for little girls? Ugh. But like, when a dude drinks, nobody does that same thing for like, oh man, this is a bad role model for little boys. Like, everybody just kind of goes like, oh yeah, he's a drunk.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I don't think it has to be a role model for girls. I realize that sounds weird from Supergirl, but like,
I get that completely, but I wasn't really so much talking about the drinking as talking about how the villain was dispatched. That's
fair. Okay.
That's what I was talking about, the whole attitude part of it. I mean,
but then did Man of Steel bother you?
As in what? Because
that's how Superman ends Man of Steel. He kills Zod.
Oh, you're talking the Man of Steel.
Isn't that what you're talking about? How the end of Supergirl? Because she kills Creme of the Yellow Hills?
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't want to give spoilers. I know it's been out for a couple of months.
Nobody gives a shit.
No, it was more or less the hypocrisy of it, where she was telling, you're going to regret this. Don't do this. You're going to, blah, blah, blah. And then once the girl turns her back, she's just like, ha, ha, ha. And
she was saving her innocence.
Yeah, I know.
Supergirl is not innocent in that world.
I know that, but it's kind of like I've never liked that do as I say, not as I do type attitude. I've never really been a fan of that. I believe in kind of practice what you preach type thing. And if she's trying to give a good moral of the story, maybe she should be more of a convincing person to live out those morals. That's my whole thing. As in Man of Steel, when he dispatches Zod, I don't have any problems with stuff like that. I kind of have problems with how goody two-shoes Superman is, because it tries to teach morals above all else, and don't take a life for this or that or the other thing, but it also kind of throws in that whole would ending one really, really bad life mean that you don't have to deal with that bad life trying to kill millions of bad lives, later on down the road. I've had a problem with that. It's kind of, I don't know. I deal more with the Punisher, where he's like, I'm going to kill, and if you kill, I don't care if you kill, and I don't care if you want to, and trying to be like, dude, stop being a goody two-shoes. I'm more of that kind of person.
It's tougher when you've got a Superman style character where like you can kill everyone. Oh, if you start down this path, where do you end up?
Yeah, well, I mean, still like Batman. You know what I mean? It's Batman knows by dispatching the Joker, he could just deal with so much right there, then and there, but yet won't do it because his morals are high above all else. But then again, he practices what he preaches, because he doesn't tell anybody else not to kill, then he goes off and kills. Or he doesn't tell people you should kill, but I'm not going to. Type thing, where with Supergirl, she was like, don't do that because it's bad, and then blam, and just done.
I mean, I don't remember it well enough to say exactly what she says to her, but I feel like it was more of a protecting her innocence than it was about killing is wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, she fucked with her dog. She had to do something to him.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's what I liked about the new Superman one, because he just got super pissed about the dog. You were doing a whole lot, and he was really upset. There's been too many harming of animals in movies recently. So I really like it when Superman got emotional because they kidnapped his freaking dog.
Oh my god, I love that Superman movie. I don't care what anybody says.
So do I. I hated that I loved it so much.
The scene where I think he's talking to Lois, and she's like, "What do you do? Like, it's just a dog." And he's like, "Yeah, and it's not even a very good dog, but he's all alone. And he's probably
Right.
scared." And I'm just like, "Oh,
Yes, exactly. And you dog people attribute those emotions to their dog, you know, and they're like, he's alone and he's scared and I feel bad for him. So
Yeah.
when they incorporated that into Superman, I was 100% about it. And Dingo kind of has my point. At this point, Batman's decisions has cost thousands of lives. You know, if he wasn't so virtuous to where he just above all else cannot do it. So I don't have a problem with that. I just have a problem with, if it's all about saving somebody's innocence, maybe she should try to live by that and get some of hers back, type thing. That's what I mean.
Agree, Portland RoboCop. There was a Batman comic. So I don't have an issue with the Batman no kill rule. It is a flaw, but it's also like, if he could just kill people, then, you know, his stories would end really quickly. Because quite frankly, most of his villains don't have superpowers; they're just crazy people. If he wanted to just kill them, he could, you know, he could clean Gotham up real fast. The issue I had, there's one comic specifically, I think it was a comic, might have been a television show. No, I think it's a comic where Gordon has lost it, and Gordon's going to kill the Joker, or let the Joker die, maybe. And Batman's like specifically saving him. Like I think Joker's like incredibly hurt, and Batman takes him to the hospital, and Gordon's just like, dude, like, we don't have to spend resources on him. And Batman's like, yes, we do. And it's just like, no, you don't. Like, this isn't your fault. You didn't cause this. You didn't kill him.
Right.
Like, he did something to himself. I don't remember the comic exactly, but it was just one of those situations like, okay, this feels forced. Like, Batman not wanting to kill, I'm on board with. But like, oh, Joker basically killed himself, but I'm going to do everything in my power to save him? Nah. I like the end of Batman Begins, where he's like, I don't have to kill you, but I don't have to save you either.
Right.
That should be your mentality. Like,
yes.
I'm not going to kill you, but if you kill yourself, oh no. So
yes,
bad.
It's called consequences. We learn from them. I get you. One thing that I wanted to, I think we kind of touched on it at the very beginning before you guys went live with our rating, talking about everybody that has passed in the last couple of days. And I had just brought up, I said, all of our childhood heroes are, you know, now passing away. We're getting really old. I mean, and rest in peace to everybody that we've lost in the past couple of days. But have you found anybody, like any new talent in Hollywood, or considering Dolly Parton, like really any aspiring musicians, you know, that can take the place of people like Tim Curry? You know, have you seen like the influx of so much talent that we had in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, where it just seemed like these people were meant to do exactly what they were doing, and they just brought an entirely new level to their performance?
Oh, I'm going to change the wording just slightly, because there's no way you're going to replace Tim Curry or anything like that. Like, I don't even want to try. And I'm saying that even as somebody who's not like the biggest Tim Curry fan, but still greatly respectful of his art. Just talented actors in the last couple of years. Yeah, I think we've got lots of talented actors. Does it hit differently? Sure. The medium has changed. We don't have the same style of storytelling that we used to. But I think there are still actors who can, like, I think Leonardo DiCaprio is incredible. I think he can absolutely disappear into his craft. Do I love every choice that he's ever made? No, I do not.
Right, but he came around in the late 80s, early 90s. He started out with what, Growing Pains on television.
Sure. So when do you want to start the conversation?
Well, like I don't say Indy Navarrete. You know, it's how since we were just talking about obsession, just I guess I'm obsessed, but her performance was just so good and so strong in that film The only other thing that I've seen her in was The Adventures of Superman and Lois, which she also did a fantastic job, but she was a supporting character. Do you think that that her ability will be on par, or hopefully on par, with the likes of a Tim Curry, or where she can just melt in and make any role just where she can be the devil in Legend, and she can work as the concierge in Home Alone, and she can be the butler in Clue, and she can be Frankfurter in Rocky Horror Picture Show, and just bring that level of character acting, in it.
So, Indy Navarrete, I have not seen Superman or Lois and whatever that show is.
Yeah.
So I literally only have the one performance from her, and I am not ragging on her in any way. It's a phenomenal performance, but I can't give her all the flowers in the world based off one performance.
Right.
I think she did that incredibly well, but I've never seen her do anything else. Her next role theoretically is going to be as Rogue from the X-Men, which would be a massive departure. I'm curious what she's going to do with that, but it's also an ensemble Marvel movie. How much is she going to get to spread her wings? Ha ha ha, she can fly. I don't know. So, like, I'm not taking anything away from her. The one performance I saw her in was phenomenal, but I'd like to see more before I put her on like a Tim Curry level, right?
Right. But are there any performers like in the last decade that are like breakout performers that you think are going to have very, very promising futures, and you can't wait to see more from them and stuff like that? Kind of like what with Tim Curry.
I think Timothée Chalamet is probably one of those characters. Not necessarily as varied as Tim Curry. Again, I don't want to necessarily always bring it back to him specifically. But I think he's going to have a pretty phenomenal career for a pretty long time, assuming he keeps his mouth shut about the ballet. He's done a lot of really different things. He's done a lot of different styles of roles, and he's pulled them all off pretty well. I'm trying to think, like somebody saying Tom Holland. I really agree with Tom Holland in the sense that I've liked the Spider-Man movies, but I haven't really seen a ton else from him. Like he did Nathan Drake,
he was in,
but it was kind of like meh.
Yeah.
He was in a movie called The Devil All the Time or something like that.
And I like that.
I think he was good, but the movie I didn't care for.
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson is an actor that can get lost. I know we all give him crap for being the sparkly vampire, but like he comes to play in everything.
Team Jacob, baby. Yeah. I think he gives great performances. Like what's it called? Maybe I don't think it's Romper. The Rogue or the something that takes place in Australia, kind of a dystopian film. He does fantastic. I love him to death. I have a very hard time looking at Robert Pattinson. I don't know why.
I'll give you that in the Odyssey, he was the only character that I was fully aware I was watching a movie star.
Yeah.
But if you've seen Lighthouse, I did not have that issue in that movie. I thought he did. What's the other one he did? He did another one that was really good. He's super, super charismatic in like Tenet, but that's not necessarily the same thing as being a phenomenal actor.
I mean, he did good in the drama. He's really good.
I haven't seen that one yet. Is it good? Is it worth checking out? Or
it's the subject matter will stand you aback, but
that's fair.
Yeah, well done. It was well done.
I think I haven't seen enough of her. I think there's a good chance Zendaya is going to be a pretty phenomenal standout. I liked her in Dune. The new Spider-Man, she actually really impressed me. I know it's a Marvel movie, but there's a couple of scenes in it where it's like, okay, she's got I liked her significantly more in the new one than the three before it. I have not seen Chasers. No. The tennis movie, but apparently she's phenomenal in that. Challengers? I don't know.
Bernsey just brought something up. Chase Infinity. Whenever I did one battle after another, I said right in the review that I need to see more from this girl because she did such a wonderful job, and I wasn't familiar with anything that she's done, and I couldn't wait to see more from her. Wonderful D. I agree with you that they've only been in a few films. It's not really fair from career performers that have, that has a legend. But I mean, in all honesty, when you watched Rocky Horror Picture Show and you watched Legend and you watched It, the original made for TV, when you watch things like that, you could just tell that Tim Curry had something about him. I was watching it was some kind of like spoof parody short or something about aliens came and were talking to these people, and they said, what's your culture? What are good movies? What are good films to watch? And they said, you really need to watch this one. It has Timothy Chalamet and Tom Holland and Zendaya in it. And you have to watch this one. Well, who does it star? It stars Timothy Chalamet and Zendaya and Tom Holland. And wait, this one is a really good, really what's it about? Well, it stars Timothy Chalamet and Tom Holland and Zendaya. You're just bringing across that any movie that has been good or has been box office or anything stars one or two or all of just those three performers. So the funny thing is, I mean, you bringing up Timothy Chalamet right off the bat, you chat bringing up Tom Holland, then Zendaya being brought up. It really seems like in the last 3 years, 4 years, they're the only really.
Yeah, but isn't that the reason the game is 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon? Because he was in everything back then.
Oh,
so like that's not new.
Yeah, but in all honesty, would you consider Kevin? I mean, yes, people are going to say Kevin Bacon is a standout performer, but can you put his performances next to, a Tim Curry?
That's not even close to what I just said. Like, no, of course not. But the point you were making is that they're popular, so they're in a lot of movies. That's not a new thing. That's the way it's always been. When somebody's popular or young or hot, they're going to get cast a lot. So,
right.
Well, of course, they're the ones that are coming to show up.
But I was bringing up, are they really the only talented actors? Why they've been in. I don't mean about how many movies they've been in. I mean about their performances. Are they the only three that are actually worth talking about because they're good performers, that they're the breakout performers of this generation?
I mean, I also threw out Robert Pattinson, but I get your point. I think it's tough because not only the lack of roles that some of these people have been in, because either they've been in a bunch of roles, but it's the same role over again, like Spider-Man or like Tom Holland. But also limiting yourself to this specific generation. Like I think, what's his name? Carl Urban is one who's I really enjoyed pretty much every performance he's been in. But he is an older gentleman. But like I feel like I only started paying attention to him in the last decade or so. I don't know how many movies he was doing prior to say 2010. But that's kind of like when I started picking up and be like, oh, like this guy just makes hit after hit after hit, or at least does things that I enjoy over and over and over again. I don't know. It's tough to come up with a name off the top of my head of somebody who's like, oh yeah, that could clearly be a Tim Curry style actor. Because, I mean, as Chad is pointing out, like a lot of them are not trained in the same way because again, the craft has changed so much. You're not starting off doing, Broadway necessarily. You're just jumping straight into movies and, working off a green screen as opposed to working off an audience.
Right. And I mean, I think that YouTube has a lot to play with that, because people are maybe not just YouTube, but I mean, Instagram, blah, blah, blah. They're used to having some sort of camera in their face and they're used to do it like Markiplier, I mean, no real acting, but he was used to acting with content creation with, so he was used to being in front of camera. And I think he did a really good job in Iron Lung.
Is he in the movie?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I thought he's the director.
No, he's the star.
Okay.
He's in the entire thing.
That's Iron Lung?
Yeah.
Okay.
Iron Lung. It's just him in the ship by himself. I mean, it only shows like 2 other people through the entire movie. It's one of the claustrophobic movies like you like. But I think It's kind of like Justin Bieber gets his start on YouTube. Taylor Swift gets her start YouTube. Taylor with Toby Keith. You know, this, that, and the other thing kind of finds her. You know, and all of that stuff. I don't want to say almost instant celebrity, you know, but their audience kind of grew from that when you have people that went through Shakespearean training and went through Juilliard and went through the classic, the study of the craft of acting and everything. And it worries me about the quality of film in the future, you know. And then going back, you have so many. You have the Brat Pack, you know, with the John Hughes movies and stuff like that we just saw for a decade. They were in everything. Kiefer Sutherland in everything, and just name blew up. Kevin Bacon in everything, name blew up. And as they're retiring, and we have some of our idols and some of the people we grew up watching on big screen passing away, is there really a lot of talent that we're going to be able to pass the torch to?
I think. Okay, how am I going to do this? I would want my dad and my daughter in on this conversation to answer this question properly, because I would bet that my dad would have a list of actors that we're never going to see again, like Robert Redford's and stuff like that.
This is Hillary, yeah.
Wouldn't have he wouldn't put Tim Curry anywhere close to that list. Like, this is what an actor is, and that's something new. And I don't know if the next generation had that. And then I'd ask my daughter, like, who stands out to you? And it'd probably be a completely different list. So our generation, yes, we're going to have our idols, and we're going to be like, oh, well, the next generation doesn't have anybody like that. But the next generation is going to have that for them. They're not going to have somebody necessarily that's going to stand out in that same way to us, especially because like we won't see all of Tom Holland's career. We're just not likely going to make it that long. You know what I mean? Whereas we got to see everything Tim Curry did. So it's really going to be tough to answer that question when we're both in the same generation, or at least close enough that a lot of our idols are going to be the same. So
that's actually a very well thought out answer. It really, I mean, we can't say, you know, kind of like our parents used to say, you know, our music was trash. Now we say our kids' music is trash. You know, it's on a different level. So younger actors aren't going to mean as much to us, and we're not going to think they're as talented as the younger generation. I mean, it's absolutely. But like Mrs. Hillary, Anthony Hopkins, I put with Tim Curry. Sean Connery, I don't really put with Tim Curry, but I put as fantastic and very, very smooth, and I love everything he does. Robert Redford, absolutely. But I will also, you know, go one step further and say that in The Devil's Own, Robert Redford opposite Brad Pitt was just phenomenal. And a lot of people wouldn't put Redford and Pitt in the same category because they think Robert Redford.
Isn't that Harrison Ford?
So better. Is it Harrison Ford? What movie was Robert Redford and Brad Pitt in?
I don't know.
I think it was The Devil's Own.
Is Brad Pitt in Sneakers? No,
he might. So. I don't think so.
That's a good question. I'm curious now. I mean, you bring up music. That's an even bigger thing, because I mean, most people kind of latch on to their high school / college years, and that's what they think of.
I know. I do.
You go back to like Ozzy Osbourne, and for that generation, that was really pushing boundaries.
Right.
And then the next generation is kind of like, he's pretty tame. Like it's you know, it's good music, but it's pretty tame. And then you like your Marilyn Manson, you're like, oh, that's pushing a boundary. And like by today's standard, they're like, yeah, whatever. Like, just what it is.
Much. And then you have the passing of the torch with Ozzy and Youngblood, you know, and everything like that. Which, I agree. A River Runs Through It. Was Redford in A River Runs Through It? I mean, that was a fantastic film, but I haven't seen A River Runs Through It so long.
Oh, they were in Spy Games together.
That's the movie I'm thinking about. Spy Games, about the IRA and Brad Pitt coming over from Ireland. With the Spy Games is what I'm thinking about, not The Devil's Own.
No, I think you are thinking about The Devil's Own, because what you just described is The Devil's Own, where Brad Pitt's kind of like living in this family's house, but he's actually an IRA player. Yeah,
that's the Devil's Own, right? Is that Harrison Ford?
I'm almost positive. That's one of those movies where I've seen it like 2 or 3 times, and it's just so fucking forgettable to me that it's like I'm watching it brand new every time I see it.
See, I'm a huge fan of movies like that, but then again, that's why I like Daniel Day-Lewis so much. And you think he's kind of overrated because he was in movies like The Sins of the Father and The Boxer, and that was all based like IRA 70s and 80s and stuff like that.
Devil's Own 97, Harrison Ford, Brad Pitt.
Okay, all right. So I guess I'm just mixing up. Was Brad Pitt with Robert Redford in Spy Games? They were in one together in the performance. I mean, they worked really well off of each other.
So they were in Spy Game and River Runs Through It. I've never seen River Runs Through It, but in Spy Games, they both work for the CIA. And Robert Redford, I don't know if he goes rogue or he gets like something. Oh no, Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt is like out in the field, and they're trying to like. The CIA is basically like, we don't know who this guy is. Like we're disavowing any knowledge of him, and Robert Redford's trying to buy him some time or something like that, so he can get somewhere safe. Something along those lines.
And then Legends of the Fall had Anthony Hopkins and Brad Pitt in it, right? I believe. Okay,
I'll say sure.
It's been a very long time, but I mean, I love films like that. This is Hillary's got it. 100%. Would you put Ryan Gosling as one of the best actors in the last 20 years? I'll say the majority of the films that he's in, he's very, very convincing. But I think that he has also, fallen into taking some roles that weren't very good for his career, like the Barbie movie, where it was kind of a spoof of himself. And
you don't think that was good for his career? Didn't it win him an Oscar?
No, I don't think it. Well, I don't put any stock into actors. That's just into the Oscars. That's a popularity contest. There are so many bad movies that have won an Oscar and so many good movies.
I don't disagree, but it's not hurtful for your career.
Well, I'm talking about like performance quality of your career. You're not going to be looked at as a serious actor if you win Oscar after Oscar for Barbie 1, Barbie 2, Barbie 12, the daughter of Barbie, the son of Barbie. And if you make a career out of doing movies like that, like The Rock, you're not going to be taken as a serious actor. And when The Rock made the Smashing Machine or whatever, everybody was just saying, oh, this is the pinnacle of his career. It'll just show that he's a serious actor. And I watched that thinking, where was he a serious actor in this? I don't, if that was the pinnacle and it showed us everything that he's capable of, he's not an actor. He's muscles on a screen.
Out of curiosity, Dingo, what is it you're disagreeing to? I think, well, for one, like he does a lot of independent movies. He does a lot of moody movies. Then he did like Barbie.
Yeah.
There is no Barbie 2, 3, 7. Like that was a one and done as far as I can tell. I've not even heard anything about there being a sequel. I don't, like people said in the chat, like I feel like it shows range. Like he's willing to poke fun at himself. And for me, that actually is a huge bonus. Like when actors are willing to have fun roles, that helps me. Whereas like you mentioned Daniel Day-Lewis a second ago, the fact that all he chooses are these incredibly dry roles, I feel like he just takes himself too seriously. And so I can't get invested in him.
Right.
Like I just feel like, okay, well, there's nothing about this guy where I'm like, man, I'd love to go get a beer with him or hang out with him or I just,
yeah,
I like actors who can do a range of things. And I'm not saying he's a bad actor. I don't find the roles he chooses interesting.
I had said the same thing with Anemone. I think, he considers himself, so high class and elite that he can't lower himself down to make a spoof, and I'm not saying that Ryan Gosling doing the Barbie movie was a career ender. I mean, he did The Fall Guy and I enjoyed The Fall Guy, and stuff like that. But he also did movies like Drive, and he did the movies like The Notebook, where you can see that he's a phenomenal actor. And if he does the one and dones, or he does the making fun of himself every 5 years, as opposed to all of these really good performances, that's fine. I love it. But if he makes a career out of just doing that, and if he's typecast for that kind of film, he's not going to be taken seriously. That's what I mean. Other than that, I think Ryan Gosling is a wonderful actor.
Yeah, I realize you're talking in hypotheticals. I don't think Ryan Gosling is in a place where he's got to be nervous about that. I think he's had enough art roles. He's had enough solid dramatic roles where he's like, yeah, I can play around for a little bit and still run into an Oscar-nominated performance or a pure drama or something. I think he'd be fine.
Right, and now he's joining the MCU now. So I mean, he's going to be with an ever-broadening cast of characters.
So I guess it depends on if you think hurting his career is financial or roles wise, but I think either way he's fine.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about his career.
I think more in like a cine-snob way, that if he continues to do Ghost Rider and Barbie and The Fall Guy, then they're going to forget about The Notebook, and they're going to forget about Drive, and they're going to forget about Project Hail Mary, even though
I've never seen a cinephile yet that will let me forget about Drive. They always bring it up whenever he's around. Miss Hillary Breaker High, is that what you're talking about?
Even what's it called, The Gray Man? I mean, that was Ryan Gosling, right?
That was Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans. Who was the second in that one?
I don't know. He was nicely shorn, so I can't remember. He was shaven when he's usually not, so the face I can't remember the other character. He just looked different. I think it was Chris Evans. Pretty sure it was. He looked kind of like a Dapper Dan. I remember that as the character. You thought The Gray Man was horrible? I thought the story was not great, but I thought the performances were very good.
I can tell you that I saw it. That is the extent of what I can tell you about it. I couldn't tell you the plot, anything. I don't remember it. I do remember I sat down and watched it.
Yeah,
that is all.
I remember not having a bad time watching it. That's really.
I feel like the general consensus at the time was that it was not good, and I remember watching it and being like, "That wasn't bad. Like that's fine." Yeah. But then I don't remember anything about it. I think it's probably got a little bit dinged too because it's the Russos coming off of the Avengers movies, and so it was a lot of like, oh, can these guys do anything but Avengers? I thought it was fine. I don't remember. I remember my emotions about it more than I remember the movie itself.
Right.
It's getting close to midnight, sir. I'm gonna have to. Call it, unfortunately, but
we're supposed to keep this to an hour. Dan, why did you let me keep talking?
I called it when I recognized the time. The thing is, we had Will on for so long, and I mean, I love the guy, enjoyed it, but I also did want to get a little bit of just Dan and Bubba time. So
yeah, absolutely. But I do like it when we get to talk to Will and hopefully Brian a little bit more and hear their opinions on stuff other than the movie you guys just watched.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it's nice, like you just said, like it's good to just talk to Will and not be like, no, we're on and we're doing this. Like you just kind of like sit back and just have a thought.
Right. We're talking to Will. We're not talking to cleaning agent.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you guys all so much for hanging out with us this evening. It's been a ton of fun talking about Snowpiercer. What did you guys think of Snowpiercer? We scored it, I think, 72-69. No, 72-61 and 73. Yeah. So Brian was not a fan. Brian got real hung up on the train, which I think is a bit of a can't see the forest for the trees situation. But that's his prerogative. He gets to rate his movies how he wishes. Will and I appreciated the craft of it a bit more. I don't think any of us loved it. I think for all three of us, it was kind of a good idea stretched a little too thin.
Yeah, more of a conversation piece. That's exactly what you guys were saying.
It was fun. I had more fun talking about it than I had watching it.
Right, and just to let you know, I was like right there with you in the whole rating of it. I mean, I thought of it as a low 70s type film. Something that made you spark conversation more than just enjoying it, Yeah. But that's just my rating doesn't matter.
I really like Parasite a lot more, and it touches on a lot of the same themes.
Very good flick. I think it's still on Hulu. So if you guys were, I think it's.
I own the 4K in the other room, so.
Oh, do you?
I can watch it whenever.
As soon as you unpack your boxes.
Well, sure, okay.
Mrs.
Hopefully
Hillary,
by the end of the weekend.
it's still going to probably be about 5 more hours before I stream. I'm going to do something and get a little bit of sleep and head to bed, and then I'll be streaming. She asked if I was going to be streaming soon. Because I wasn't streaming today. I kind of took a break, took a day off.
So many of these talk shows categories, like they don't really say what they're talking about. They're just like, I don't know.
Yeah, Matthew.
People need to name their chapter, their content better.
My grandson thought that it was pretty cool that there was a blood moon eclipse on his birthday, and he said, "Is it going to be raining blood?" I said, "Yes, it is absolutely going to be raining blood." But then I told him I was just joking. And I do want to say, everybody that came in yesterday for Baby Bubba's hijacking of my stream, you guys made him feel so special. 100% had a smile on his face all day today, and that means everything in the world to me. So I'm indebted to you guys. I owe you one, and I'm very, very grateful. I'll hop out and take a look at it.
All right. He doesn't even have anybody watching. Screw this guy. We're right out to somebody. Show. Let's vibe. What are you talking about, guys? Just tell me what you're talking about.
Yeah, that makes things kind of
screw it. We're rating out to J-Stack. Guy's got a solid energy. I really enjoy him. He's playing some PUBG, so go give him some love. You guys have been awesome. Have a great day. I hope to see you guys this weekend at some point doing something, but honestly, I have no idea what the weekend's going to look like for me, so I can't promise anything. Bubba Hotep's going to be streaming in a couple hours, so go check that guy out. Exastin 3. I don't know who that is. I might have to check that out. Anyways, have a great day, everybody.
Zastin is part of Godforge. He's part of our kind of elite ELT group in Godforge. Zastin is pretty solid. I like him. Very cool. Well, sir, that was